Podmortem would like to thank Original Cinematic for sponsoring this week's episode. Original Cinematic is an independent production company that has made it their mission to create, produce, and promote films that are inclusive, honor women, promote the LGBTQIA+ community, and provide prominent positions and roles to POC actors and filmmakers, and promote the films of marginalized and underrepresented populations. These are all things that are extremely important to our podcast as well.
Original Cinematic is currently accepting scripts and treatments. Both William and Xxena Rush are also available via email or Zoom to discuss writing and provide input and resources to all aspiring writers free of charge. Their information will be made available in the show notes. There may be delays due to a hectic schedule and all projects being read on a first-come, first-served basis, but everything will be read and responded to. William Rush has individually produced numerous projects, including Pack is Here, Before, The Cottage, The Winemaker, and Day by Day. Their award-winning film Group premiered and was celebrated at multiple film festivals as well as screenings both in person and via Zoom that was graciously made available to us and our patrons.
Original Cinematic has many exciting projects on the horizon. Their next film, Immersion, has been completed. The award-winning Sweetener is in development. Fetish begins shooting in September, and Encore will begin next spring. Their documentary, Women in Conversation, is slated for a September release, and we are looking forward to each and every one of them. It is truly an honor to partner with Original Cinematic, and we can't thank them enough for their contribution to our show. And now, back to our regularly scheduled program.
Salutations! Welcome to Podmortem. I'm Reneé Hunter Vasquez, joined as always by my co-host, my husband, and my brother.
Hi, I'm John Paul Vasquez.
Hi, I'm Travis Hunter.
This week, we're recording live from Central Park, discussing the 2008 found footage creature feature, Cloverfield. This film was directed by Matt Reeves and written by Drew Goddard. Renowned producer J.J. Abrams was heavily inspired by the popularity and staying power of the iconic creature Godzilla. His love and respect for movie monsters became the perfect vehicle to explore and experience a simmering culture of fear that he found palpable in the United States. Exciting and expertly crafted effects blend with believable performances from a committed cast while still letting an original creature take center stage. The decision to use found footage to ground the audience in the point of view of the characters adds an authenticity still celebrated and praised by many horror fans today. This film was requested to us by friends of the show, Brent Payne, Kate Lamp, Megan M., Topher Williams, Alan Johnston, Raspberry, Kristen Lofton, Kent Morton, and Smelly Poo Poo Head. We want to thank them all for their support as well as this suggestion. This film was also the winner of our September Patreon poll, so thank you to all of our patrons who participated and voted. If you want to help us pick an episode, join us over on Patreon at patreon.com/thepodmortem. So, what did you guys think about Cloverfield the first time you saw it?
So before that, I do want to say that this is the winner of my birthday month Patreon poll.
Yes.
I was very surprised. Not in a bad way because I picked the movies.
Well, you cultivated it.
I picked the movies. But I felt like it was a pretty tough list.
I would agree.
Yeah.
It was, and I think we all had our own opinion. Well, we had a collective opinion on what would win, and it didn't.
Yeah.
And
we never know anymore.
no.
Right.
But that's honestly half the fun.
Mhm.
No, yeah. But I don't remember exactly the first time I watched this movie. I know it was on DVD. I think the mystery for me trying to unlock is how I even knew about this movie. Because I want to say that I seen the trailer somehow, and then I was like, oh my God, what was that? And then I remember, I know I've seen this movie just a handful of times. But I do enjoy it, and watching it for the show, I still did enjoy it. There are things that kind of stuck out a lot more to me. But this is a very fun movie. Watching it, this is one of those kind of like a group movie. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Having fun with it.
Yeah.
But I do still enjoy watching it. There, like I said, we'll get into it more. But there are some things I noticed now watching it again, paying attention a little more than I did before that I don't like.
I can agree 100% that this is a very fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
One to definitely watch. Like, this is a cinema experience movie.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that we did watch it in theaters.
I don't think so.
I can't remember, but I doubt it. But I do remember watching it on DVD.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing about a lot of Easter eggs that me and Nay went back and confirmed.
Okay.
And I don't really remember watching it all that much.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might be in the handful club as well,
Yeah.
honestly. But I do remember really appreciating a lot of like set pieces,
Yeah.
the spectacle of it,
Oh yeah.
the destruction,
Mm-hmm.
and the creature.
Yeah.
Creature is very interesting and not really like anything that you've seen before.
Yeah.
No.
It's kind of an amalgamation of seemingly a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where this thing came from. But I do remember being fascinated by it.
Mm-hmm.
And something that really shocked me this time around is the runtime.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the credits, without the credits, it's like 73 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a breeze of a watch.
Yeah.
I honestly, that too blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, this is pretty short.
I was kind of shocked at how much they fit into it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do remember from watching it when I was younger, a lot of moments that you're like, oh, these are, quote, iconic, unquote, moments, at least for the film.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're like, they really do fit a lot in that 73 minutes.
Oh
They
yeah.
do.
I will say, watching it as an adult, though, it is a little unbalanced as far as like how much of the time we get to experience what this movie actually is.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time on a lot of characters that, frankly, excuse me, I don't give a shit about. Sorry. I think the characters are just kind of meh.
Yeah. No, that is. I'll agree with that.
There are a couple like, and part of it, and we talked about it off mic. We just love Lizzie Kaplan.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
love Jessica Lucas.
Yeah.
So it isn't really about characterization so much as, oh, these actors we like.
I like
Right,
them.
right.
Yeah.
Because honestly, we don't even have that much time with them. Now, one person is downright insufferable.
Well,
And we spend too much time.
that.
We are
Yes.
this person.
That's,
Yeah.
that's
That.
the problem, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, that's pretty frustrating. People aren't likable, but the creature is.
Yeah. No, that's true.
We love the creature.
Yeah.
That's the last note on my card.
And you're not wrong.
No.
No, I agree with both of y'all. I think I'm also in kind of that handful club. I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or not, but in my experience with Cloverfield, I do prefer 10 Cloverfield Lane. I think I've seen that one more than this one or Paradox put together.
Yeah.
I would agree with that 100%. I think it's because we enjoy those confined thrillers.
It's the confined thrillers and it's character work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I'll just kind of echo your sentiment, T, that it is lacking in this film for me. And I love, we're going to get into it and everybody knows what this is. I already said it's a creature up front. They had the opportunity, and I guess to a point it kind of is a little bit like a From Dusk Till Dawn situation.
Yeah.
But I think that the difference is I was invested in that story and From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
I had a good handle on who these people were. I had their motivations. I had, kind of an expected trajectory, and I was on board for that. And so when you kind of pull the rug out, it's like you're disoriented. What the fuck is going on? Oh my God, this is wild. You get what the fuck is going on. Oh my God, this is wild. But I don't have a handle on these people. And I don't, like T said, really care about them all that much.
Yeah.
There is a romantic subplot that I would have loved to care more about. I would have loved to care more about it. But the way that it's presented to me, it gets to a point where we're in the thick of this and Clover is mucking about, and I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. I get that is the thing that we're supposed to buy in on, and that's the journey that we're all supposed to be on.
Yeah.
But I'm more interested in watching this thing, you know, and that's not even really who I am. I'm more of the character person.
Right.
But in this, I just feel like it's just not enough. I just, and again, like T was saying, the one that we kind of are acquainted with the most, frankly, I can't fucking stand him. I don't like him at all.
Yeah, it really does hurt the movie a lot.
It does.
Like, a lot.
But again, it delivers so much on spectacle, on this really, really interesting and weird and frightening character design, and on fucking gorgeous CG, which we do not get to say very often. It's immaculate.
And that is true. The CG, and that's not something that we get to say very often. You're right. I agree. I was really thinking a lot about what you said about From Dusk Till Dawn as far as having the rug pulled out from under you.
Mm-hmm.
I had not thought about that at all, but it's very, very appropriate and accurate, I think.
Thank you.
Okay.
The more that I'm thinking about it, though, I think it's because, at least in From Dusk Till Dawn, what we thought we were headed towards, it could have been a satisfying movie all alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they were actually doing what we thought, and when they get to Mexico, that's what happens, is what we think is happening, that would have been fine. But if this movie didn't have a monster in it,
like, okay.
it's like, dude, I watched Cloverfield last week. One monstrous monster out of 10. But I do understand that maybe that is not what the intention of this film is. Maybe that's just the vehicle through which we get to see the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I will say that it is, in its own way, a pretty special achievement.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to sound like I'm coming down too hard.
No,
Yeah.
I think that we all still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think that it's okay to say that a couple aspects of it I wasn't completely satisfied by.
100%.
No, yeah.
But we can kind of go into a little bit of the production. So this all starts with J.J. Abrams on a trip to Tokyo with his son. And he was amazed by all of the Godzilla stuff that was still everywhere. That the fact that after so many years, it's still so kind of beloved and iconic. And so this is where the idea is born, because he's like, I wish I could make a monster film with that staying power and with, you know, an audience that embraces it so much.
Yeah.
But he said that we were all, especially at this time, living with an underlying fear, especially in the States and especially in New York, that anything could happen at any time. And he felt that a monster movie would be a safe way to kind of experience that fear.
Okay.
Really, like they did with Godzilla, honestly.
Yeah.
But he wanted it to be from the perspective of someone who was relatively to the creature the size of a grain of sand, not a director or a god, but somebody that is experiencing this monster. So he was adamant that it had to be about the people too. He contacted Drew Goddard, who he'd worked with on Alias and Lost.
Yeah.
And who we talked about when he directed Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
But he immediately agreed to write and kind of develop J.J. Abrams' idea. So the two of them met and created a 5-page treatment before they broke for Christmas. But over that break, Goddard turned that 5-page treatment into a 58-page outline.
Wow.
Yeah. So they approached Paramount with the pitch of, this is going to be Godzilla meets the Blair Witch Project.
That's a fair elevator pitch.
Absolutely. And they were kind of like, because it's weird and it's different, and that's not always something that a studio is like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So they were very surprised when the question was like, can we do this? And so they were like, yes, like we can. They were into it.
Okay.
So Goddard went on to develop the script, and Matt Reeves was brought on to direct. I learned through my research, because I read the production notes, I watched some special features and read some interviews. I didn't know that he and Abrams met each other at a film festival when they were 13 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they'd been friends ever since. They even created Felicity together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But they kept everything extremely hush-hush. Everything was kept under wraps. The actors didn't even know when they were auditioning what the movie was about. They didn't know who they were playing. They didn't know what the story was. And after they were hired, they had to sign an NDA to even learn anything.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
They cut a teaser trailer and put it on showings of Transformers before they had even finished production. I think it was a Rotten Tomatoes interview with Matt Reeves. He said that they had 12 weeks to prep for the shoot, and they spent 8 of the weeks developing this 2-minute teaser trailer.
Damn.
So they put it out. The project has really no information. You can still go see it on YouTube. There's no information about it. It doesn't even have a name. I think it just says like produced by J.J. Abrams or something. That's all it says after. And we'll talk about what it showed once we get to it in the film. But interest was piqued and there was an uproar just from this teaser trailer. But Abrams wanted this to be a film that was kind of spread by word of mouth, the way that films were talked about when he was a kid, and you didn't just look up something online and learn everything about it.
Yeah.
And it worked. But people were so invested and interested that they were literally getting caught trying to sneak on set and take pictures of what was going on. Everything was locked down even further after the teaser trailer came out and everybody was like, what the fuck is this? And one of Abrams's agents, John Fogelman, was even getting nervous because the word monster kept being used in private emails among like production. And so there's a street outside of Abrams's LA office and the street's name is Cloverfield. So John Fogelman is like, why don't we use Cloverfield as a code name in the emails? And that way, if somebody does get their hands on it, they don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah.
So they do. And eventually the word Cloverfield is leaked. And so everybody's like, what is Cloverfield? Cloverfield, Cloverfield, Cloverfield. All we know is this 2-minute trailer and the word Cloverfield. So they were going to announce the film under the name of Gray Shot at Comic-Con. And they just leaned into the hype and the recognition and went with the name Cloverfield.
I always wondered where the name came from.
Me too.
Because it really doesn't, there's nothing in the film
No.
outside of like the opening,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that's wild.
It's pretty brilliant.
No, yeah.
Yeah, but it was, I mean, obviously very successful, and we're going to talk about it right now today.
Very good.
Yeah.
Now, before we document this film, we would like to issue a warning for spoilers. Podmortem is a very in-depth podcast, and in thoroughly discussing horror films, we have no choice but to spoil a thing or two. If you don't wish to be spoiled, please go watch the film, then come back and enjoy the show. If you've already seen the film or don't care about spoilers, then let's evacuate. The film opens with rumbling over the production vanity plates before the screen goes black. A tone drones through a crackle of static as we're presented with colored bars and running timers. A watermark in the center of the screen reads, "Property of the U.S. government. Do not duplicate." Text informs us that this document is from a digital SD card and, quote, "multiple sightings of case designate Cloverfield. Camera retrieved at incident site US 447, area formerly known as Central Park."
Ooh, that's troubling.
Yeah.
It's scary to start, for sure.
Yeah. Shit is bad already.
Yes.
Yeah. I will say I completely forgot about this being the opening and this being kind of the frame to how this footage got to us, I guess.
Right.
I will say it already is violating some of my found footage rules a little. I think that the thing for me is like, you know, you always want to know how did this footage get to me or whatever.
Right.
I think it would be pretty cool if we didn't just abandon this completely once the film starts.
That's a really good point, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a big defender of found footage, but I have my own rules as well. And a really, really big one for me is kind of believability in the fact that this is even being recorded by someone.
Yes.
And that
still.
Yes, that is quite flawed for me after a certain point.
Right.
It is still fun, but you have to kind of buy in and not be like, why would he still be holding my camera? But I do find myself asking that a lot.
Yeah. I forgot about this too, but I don't mind it. Like you said, I wish we would have stuck with what we got going on in this beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like if there's like some kind of government resistance thing that they like, maybe Cloverfield's a conspiracy.
Yeah, yeah.
They're saying it never happened, and we've gotten, and we're part of it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
And it's us. It's us. We're revealing it.
Don't ask me to write the film again.
But we're suddenly in the shaky view of a handheld camera wielded by Rob Hawkins, played by Michael Stahl David, on April 27th at 6:41 a.m.
This actor, I will say, had a very familiar face, so it really surprised me when going through his filmography and not really recognizing anything at all that he had been in.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know if it was just a matter of him just simply, maybe that's the point.
It is. I read I can't remember if it was the production notes, but they specifically did not want easily recognizable actors in this because they didn't want it to detract from kind of the realism and the authenticity. There are a couple familiar faces moving forward, obviously, but it's not like we were trying to come up with an actor earlier, and the only person that we could think of was Nicolas Cage to kind of illustrate a recognizable actor. So I'll just use him again. It would be like, oh my God, it's Nicolas Cage, but no, this is a regular ass dude that you could be friends with, or could be your brother, or that or whatever. I think that Rob's casting in particular is very successful in that regard.
Yeah.
The more you think about it, the more you realize that literally every aspect of found footage that would come later, the Blair Witch Project just laid the groundwork entirely.
Oh,
it really
yeah.
did.
Marketing, casting, everything. It's really wild.
Mm-hmm.
Outside the window, overlooking the city, car lights from the traffic shine out in the dim of dawn, and the clock clicks over to the next minute as Rob reports the time and the place, Beth's dad's place. He elaborates that Beth's dad is out of town, and focusing on the cars in the streets below, he adds that it's already a good day. That line is kind of rewarded later.
Yeah.
But at 6:43, he's focusing on family pictures lined up neatly and lovingly on a shelf. At 6:46, he's in the bedroom. A woman lies in the rumpled bed, her nakedness concealed by blankets. When he settles into the bed, Rob gently wakes her, and she looks up sleepily before they both giggle. Beth McIntyre, played by Odette Annable, playfully bats the camera away and hides, lamenting that she can just see this going up on the internet. Rob invites her to cover up because he's interested in other things, and when Beth asks, like what, he tells her, like you. A quiet smile spreads across her face. About 10 minutes later, Beth sits up in bed, trying and failing to catch blueberries in her mouth when Rob tosses them to her. As she munches on fruit, he playfully chastises her for never having been to Coney Island, but he excitedly tells her that he's going to take her.
Again, your choice of a frame, it's the government's like, this is very important that she has missed 4 blueberries.
They're like, we're telling a story here.
Yeah.
You need your emotional hook.
Beth snatches the camera and turns it so we finally see Rob, clothed only in his boxers. When he warns her to keep it neck up, she quips that no one will be paying to see the rest of it. He jokes that she's obviously never been to 12chesthairs.com. I was like, that's pretty funny. She asks him, besides their trip to Coney Island, what else does he want to do today? Rob gives her a sly look, but the camera cuts off before he can answer her. I was interested to learn. Obviously, this is where we meet them, where the film starts, but this was the last thing shot.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, and then we'll learn another interesting tidbit about the last thing that we see. I bet you can't guess what it is. But Odette Annable, I was reading about her casting. They said that she was sitting in the waiting room to go in and audition, and Reeves and some of the producers were just walking by. The casting director just happened to come out and ask them to sit in on the next few auditions, and when they saw her, they were like, that's Beth.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a lot of screen time.
No, I feel like there are some movies where the idea of someone is more prevalent than them actually being there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Beth, it's Beth. Like she's definitely, the idea of her is larger than the character that we actually get.
Right.
But jarringly, we are on a New York street nearly a month later on May 22nd at 6:43 p.m. Behind the jostling camera now is Jason Hawkins, played by Mike Vogel.
Mike Vogel. I know we all remember him from the Texas Chainsaw from
Yes.
03.
That's right.
He also was in Rumor Has It in 05. She's Out of My League in 2010. And he was in The Help in 2011 as well.
They had said in the production notes that he is probably the most recognizable face at this time in the film.
Okay.
That's probably fair.
Yeah.
I also remember him. He had a little stint on Bates Motel,
Okay.
which you both need to watch, I believe.
Yeah.
I started it.
I hear good things.
It doesn't count, but but that's good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I know that Allison Hightower is in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Olivia Cook,
Yes.
she's great. She's great. And I guess I need to watch House of the
Yes.
Dragon.
Yeah.
Yes.
We all need things. We all need to do things.
Yeah.
When I was reading about casting, I read that, again, they didn't know what this movie was. So even auditioning, they didn't know what anybody was looking for, what to prepare for, anything. And so Mike Vogel was reading with Michael Stahl David because he had already been cast.
Yeah.
And all he knew was that he was reading with the actor that was going to play his brother. That's all he knew. Or
Okay.
that, you know, if he got the part or whatever. So heading into the audition, he brought beers. He brought one for himself and one for Michael Stahl David, and just did the scene with him. Obviously it wasn't anything from Cloverfield, but did the audition with him with them both drinking beers, and him bringing that. They said that it felt like he was just a kind older brother, and just from that audition they were like, that's Jason.
Hey.
Okay.
But admitting that it's not his camera and he doesn't know how to use it, he follows Lily, played by Jessica Lucas.
So Lily, Jessica Lucas, I remember her from The Covenant in 06.
Oh.
But she was also in Evil Dead 2013
Yes.
and Pompeii in 2014.
I first met her on CSI.
Really?
Okay.
Yes, and it's interesting because even in the production notes, they mentioned that she had just gotten that job on CSI. And her agent called to say that she got an audition for a J.J. Abrams movie. Again, no title, no information, no character. So she sent in a tape and heard nothing for 6 weeks. So her agent, I guess, told her to send another one. 2 weeks go by and she has no way of knowing that in the production, they are struggling to cast Lily.
Oh.
Her audition tape, both of them had been completely overlooked. And they're like, it's getting down to the wire. Who are we going to pick? So they're kind of talking about this, and a production manager walks in and was like, I worked with this really, really like kind and talented actress named Jessica Lucas. And they were like, we've heard that name. They knew the name sounded familiar, so they dug and found her audition tape. So the same day they find her tape, they arrange for her to be flown out. She meets with them. They hire her in the room and send her off immediately to wardrobe. Like they were like, we need to start now. They literally started filming a few days later.
Damn.
Yeah.
I would say arguably, and we already mentioned we don't really spend that much time with these characters.
Yeah.
I would say that she is the most likable in the ensemble that we get.
Oh, yeah.
I completely agree. She described her character as the only one in the group that kind of has it together and kind of like the big sister of the group, which I can see.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, I totally agree. I'm more, I don't want to tip anything, but she's more interesting than, but you know, we'll get there. We'll get there. But she hurries along the crowded streets, reminding Jason of their time crunch as people are going to start arriving in a couple hours. When he asks where they're going, she tells him, somewhat frantic, that they're just going to the store around the corner. Inside the bodega, she tells him that she wants him to go around with his brother's camera and get testimonials.
Something very interesting that we see a lot in this film is the seamless transition between filming in actual New York City, filming in Los Angeles, and filming on sets in studios. And they were literally, actually, legitimately on the streets of New York City, and they go into this bodega and they're on a set.
Wow.
Never tell.
No. Panning across the candy bars at the register before raising the camera up to Lily and turning it on himself, Jason retorts that it's not a wedding and he doesn't understand why he's the one that has to do it anyway. He doesn't even know how to work the camera. As proof, he accidentally switches it off for a moment, cutting back to the tape that he is clearly recording over. And we're back on that day in April when the camera is being wielded by Rob. He and Beth laugh and playfully tease each other on the train for just a brief moment. Back in the bodega with Lily and Jason, she asks if he can find her in the viewfinder on the camera. When he does, she points out then he can see her carrying both of the grocery bags. He can, and although he says she's doing a great job, she hands one over to him, inviting him to learn how to multitask. On their way out, the bodega cashier, played by Anjul Nigam, laughs at them, which I would do.
Yeah.
We cut to them climbing the stairs to their apartment in a full argument. Jason asserts that he's not lugging this thing around all night, but Lily counters that he will because this is important to his brother and she's been planning it for 2 weeks. As she stomps up past the graffitied walls, Jason relents that he'll do it before commenting to the camera that he really pissed her off. He offers apologies as they continue up to the apartment.
But you've been playing with the camera the whole time up here. You're kind of getting familiar with it already.
He's like, I don't even know what a camera is.
Yeah.
I'm not the one for the job.
He repeats it so much, it's like he's not going to be the one with the camera.
Yeah.
It's just not, because I've never used it before. So, for the 1,000th time.
Later, at 7:20 p.m., Jason approaches HUD, played by TJ Miller. So, I don't like HUD.
Nice.
I was trying to think of a way to be a little more diplomatic, but I don't like him. Any enjoyment that I get of the film is in spite of him.
Mm-hmm.
And we will learn in a moment why his inclusion, it is very important. I just wish they would have done something different with the character. And I'm trying to think back to 2008 and I'm like, is this more of like, would we be like, oh, like he's funny? You know what I mean? Like, I know that times change or whatever, but I feel like there's no version of me that did not find this guy fucking annoying as hell.
I think there was a time at this time that it was the appropriate comic relief.
Okay.
I feel like he's kind of got this, like, in retrospect, annoying, like, Dane Cook energy.
Okay. All right.
Could be. But again, and Dane Cook didn't.
Yeah,
his energy or, just existence didn't age well either.
That was annoying.
Yeah. But I don't like HUD, and the more that we accidentally learned about TJ Miller researching this, I don't fucking like it.
Yeah.
Either.
No. And that was the thing is I was like, oh shit, it's fucking TJ Miller.
Yeah.
But then you're like, oh, he's gonna have the camera, so he'll shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And as it turns out,
no.
plot twist.
Yeah.
He's like, all we hear.
Yeah, no.
But HUD is applying a banner that will announce, "We'll miss you, Rob." Each letter comprised of picture collages. And as they're setting up, I'm like, man, Lily really, it's very nice.
Yeah.
I would sob.
Yeah.
But Jason tells HUD that he has a job for him. And although HUD protests that he already has a job putting up the signs, Jason maintains that this is more important. He asks HUD if he knows how they do testimonials at weddings, and although HUD doesn't, Jason passes his job to him. He tells him that he's supposed to take the camera and walk around filming people wishing Rob good luck. HUD is not with it, protesting that it's too much responsibility and he'll have to do it all night. But when Jason interrupts with the fact that Marlena is going to be there, HUD's protestations stop. Jason takes this opening to equip him with the camera so he can talk to Marlena for Rob. HUD says that he never said he'd do it, but Jason still tells him to just start with him. HUD focuses the camera on Jason, who looks down lens and speaks directly to his brother, Rob. He tells him how much he loves him and how proud he is of him, and he wishes him the best of luck in Japan. Then he motions for HUD to cut. He assures him that that's it, and the job will be easy. HUD reasons that it's actually kind of fun, but is one job abandoned, Jason walks away, wishing HUD luck.
So I just wanted to talk about the cinematography in this film very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
The cinematographer is a guy called Michael Bonvillain. Yes, it sounds like Bond.
Yeah,
Yes, it does.
That's what you said.
Yes, missing one letter. But he worked on Lost, Felicity, and Alias.
Okay.
So it was...
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is a lot of this film is actually shot by the actors filming it. When they're handed the camera on film, they're actually being handed the camera.
Huh.
And so when you see at the beginning of the film, when Michael Stahl-David is filming himself and Beth, he's the one that's actually filming it.
Okay.
And they had said that they had wanted, like, when it comes to reflections, like if he's filming her in bed and there's that giant framed photo on the bed, if it's a reflection of just some random camera guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of strange.
Yeah.
But to make it him, it adds that sense of realism to everything.
Right.
And so Mike Vogel, when they're going through the streets of New York, when they're in that bodega, when they're going up the stairs, he's the one filming it.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
And just as the same, when we pass it off to TJ Miller, he's the one that's filming a lot of these party scenes.
Okay.
But the thing that's interesting is that whenever we get out into the street, it does kind of shift.
Mm-hmm.
They would pass the camera around to different cameramen. Sometimes it was the cinematographer himself. And we will talk about something interesting that did happen to the cinematographer that was actually a mistake that stayed in the film.
Okay.
Oh.
But it's just very interesting that they utilized the cast members as well as crew.
Yeah.
And it is seamless. The entire time you're like, oh yeah, HUD is filming this film.
Yeah.
It really does feel that way. And as such, we are his, like, I guess he is our eyes,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
kind of. And I don't know, man. It does remind me something that I read. One of the executive producers said that HUD is the everyman. He is the humanity, the emotion, the humor. He is relatable, and he is the heart of the movie.
No.
I'm going to go ahead and disagree with all of that.
Yeah. No.
I'm
no.
just dropping that,
Yeah.
that quote, and we can move on.
I don't think it took any of us longer
Then like a second.
Yeah, than a second to be like, no, yeah.
Disagree.
After some disjointed shots of the evolving party, HUD takes to his job, getting a testimonial from Jen and Antonio, played by Margot Farley and Theo Rossi.
Juice.
Yes!
So random because he's barely in it.
Yeah. I was so surprised to see him, and I haven't seen this in a while. And so, yeah, I really thought he was going to be a more prevalent part, but he's not.
Yeah, I did too. Those were my hopes. I seen him and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, because we know he's a good actor.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly feel like that happens a lot in this film, where we see people that are clearly recognizable. Maybe within the next few years they become or go to different roles or whatever.
Yeah.
But you expect, like, there's someone coming up that it's like, holy shit.
Yeah. But struggling with how to say it in Japanese, they fondly wish Rob goodbye. When HUD devolves into just recording unfocused people on the dance floor as he dances along, he's stopped by Lily, dressed for the party now, who asks him what he's doing because she told Jason to do that. He tells her that Jason passed it off to him, and when she counters that it's important that he takes it seriously, he promises that he's been taking it really, really seriously. He offers for her to do her testimonial, and she reluctantly agrees.
One thing I will say, the cinematographer was kind of worried about, because they put on the autofocus like the majority of the time that they're filming this film.
Okay.
And he was worried that it would look really amateurish when the finished product came out. But Reeves is like, that's exactly...
Yeah, I was going to say.
I was going to say it's supposed to.
I thought that's what you wanted.
Yeah.
They're like, this looks like shit.
Good.
And it did make me think, hearing you say that about them passing the camera around, of like what we talked about, like on The Grudge. Everybody was helping. Everybody, the crews, the actors, everybody's like, no, let's just all get in here and do a little bit of this.
Get it done.
For sure.
Lily addresses the camera, admonishing Rob for leaving her to look after his brother all by herself. Jason steps between Lily and the camera, reminding him both that he's standing right there. But he moves and Lily continues, conceding that she knows they're not officially family yet. And then Jason jumps back into the frame. We jump cut to just Lily again, HUD reassuring her that they'll just edit Jason out. Lily finally gets to say that she thinks of Rob as a brother, and she hopes that he thinks of her as a sister.
I love that HUD's like, I'm also editing
I
this.
know.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
You didn't even want to film people.
I was going to be like, dude, you're trying. And then he's like, no, don't worry, I'll fix it. No, the fuck you won't.
But she continues to speak lovingly, telling Rob that he better call them. But HUD has zoomed focus past her to Marlena, played by Lizzie Kaplan, as she enters the party.
We all love Lizzie Kaplan.
Yes!
Yeah. So Lizzie Kaplan, of course, we know her from Mean Girls.
Yes.
No 4. I also looked, and I didn't know because I've only seen this movie like halfway, and I don't want to say I'm ashamed to say it, but I know it had its moment. She was in Hot Tub Time Machine in 2010.
Really?
Yeah. She was also in My Best Friend's Girl in 2008 and 127 Hours in 2010 as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think she was in the 2nd season of Castle Rock.
Okay.
And she played Annie Wilkes.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Very nice.
I read Lizzie Kaplan saying that she just wanted to do this because of J.J. Abrams, because she really liked Lost. Of course, just like everybody else, she had no idea what they were making, what it was going to be. And she said that they had them reading scenes from shows like Alias
Oh, wow.
to audition. So really, it wasn't even excerpts from the film.
Yeah.
But she said that they really wanted to see her and TJ Miller and how they played off of each other. So they rehearsed a scene where she had to stab him with the syringe of adrenaline.
Fair.
Yeah. And she said that they were just laughing at them because they're like, they have no fucking idea what they're even, what we're even doing. But Lily calls HUD's name and he focuses back on her annoyed face when Marlena walks away. He tells her that she did great, but just as she points out that he wasn't even paying attention for half of it, the camera cuts again. This is already, I'm starting to be annoyed with HUD.
Yeah.
Because not only is it what you did just fucked up, but especially to do it to Lily, who put this whole thing together.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I would have said, let's take it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Just pretend that it was her fault.
Or go yell at your boyfriend, take the camera back.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
is your brother, take the fucking camera back.
And redo my testimony.
Yes.
HUD navigates through People Dancing to Beautiful Girls by Sean Kingston. He focuses the camera on Marlena sitting alone, drinking a beer and looking at her phone. He gives himself a mini pep talk that he can do this. But when he approaches Marlena, she looks up at him coldly and he quickly makes a U-turn. Awkwardly, he's right in the face of Charlie, played by Brian Klugman. Charlie is friendly at first, but quickly gets annoyed when HUD continues to hold the camera in his face.
Understandable. The playlist is a little on the nose for HUD.
That's true.
It's like, is this his inner monologue or is that actually playing at the party?
We cut to HUD working up the courage to approach Marlena again, this time from behind her as she still sits on her phone. He surprises her when he calls out and she turns with wide eyes. He asks if she knows that Rob is leaving, despite the fact that she's currently sitting at his going away party. When she turns back to her phone, he says that he's going around recording messages for Rob, but Marlena declines. She admits that she barely even knows Rob. She's just here for Lily, and it would be awkward for her to record a message for him. HUD presses this, saying that he's supposed to get everybody, though. He tries to explain the concept of the testimonials he's getting, but she's emphatic that she understands what he's doing. She just doesn't want to do it. She turns back to her phone, but awkwardly touching her shoulder before sliding behind the bar. HUD assures her that that's cool, so they'll just do a quick one.
I swear to God.
I get you're not being threatening and you're trying to be funny and talk to her or whatever, but all right, I'm sorry. Let me go somewhere else.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. I'm Marlena. You've already blown it. Like, you're annoying the fuck out of me. I don't want to be on camera. Leave me alone.
How do you not realize?
Yeah.
And just a sidebar, I did want to say that old ass iPhone she's holding.
Yeah.
I remember watching the film and being like, oh, that's the most technologically advanced thing I've ever seen in my life. And I wanted it. I did. Now look at us.
Yeah.
And I will say another thing that he does that he shouldn't do is he does touch her shoulder.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. The no after that, it should have just been like, oh, okay, cool, and then he could have just danced away. You asked, she told you no. Take off, dude.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's not. I mean, she's not giving a vibe like oh, well, no, she said no. And she clearly doesn't even want to be talking to you. Yeah.
No. And honestly, the other thing is if you talk about the thing about we're doing these testimonial things, she doesn't want to do it. Oh, okay. Well, hey, how's it going? You don't have to be like, no, I need you on camera. Everyone's doing it. Get over there. It's like, Jesus Christ, Hud.
You're blowing it.
This is our everyman. This is what you think of us? Unnamed producer? Fuck you. I can't believe this shit.
I'm offended.
Yeah.
But Marlena, defeated, turns toward the camera, reluctantly accepting that he's not letting this go. She introduces herself and, as she predicted, records a very awkward message. She admits that she's only met Rob about 3 times, and each of those times she was really drunk, but hey, he's got a cool job. She knows that he's the president of something, and when HUD corrects her from behind the camera that it's vice president, she course corrects, and she's like, that's also really cool. She's trying her best.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She wishes him luck and promises that they'll be keeping New York safe and fun for him when he gets back. Yeah. She looks up at HUD and he tells her that she did great and they can even do another one if she wants to, but obviously she doesn't. She asks HUD if he has a card that she can give to her agency. They're going on a retreat and they love the video bonding crap that he's doing. HUD has to confess that he's not a professional. He's just HUD. Shouting over the music, she's like, Hug? But he tells her his name and says that he's a friend of Lily and Rob's. He reminds her that they've met several times before and she feigns recognition, citing that he's got the camera in front of his face, so she didn't realize, which is very kind of her.
Yeah, yes. I think just that. I'm like, okay, I gotta go. I'm sorry.
No, I'm humiliated.
Yeah,
He moves the camera to the side and she's like, oh, yeah, totally. He tells her that it's great to see her again, and she politely reciprocates. But when he tries to push his luck further, she gathers her purse and her beer and dismisses herself to go get some food. As she walks away, HUD calls after her that he'll still do her agency's retreat if she wants him to.
She thought your name was Hug, dude.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Well, if you've met several times and she still does.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Later, HUD records as Lily gathers the group by the front door and orders the music to be turned down. Rob walks through the door and the group calls out, "Surprise!" He clearly is surprised and smiles brightly. As a joke, he turns to leave, but he comes back, greeting his friends with hugs as he questions how everyone was able to pull this off. When the crowd demands a speech, Rob stammers out that he's very surprised. He accuses Lily of being the one behind it, but she graciously assures him that it was everyone. He thanks the group sincerely before cutting the speech short, admitting that that's all he's got, to the cheers of his friends.
He's right. He ain't much on speeches.
As the party continues, HUD asks Rob if he was surprised. Rob jokes that he wasn't at all. Actually, he's a little bored, but he laughs, clearly grateful for the party. He asks HUD what he's doing with the camera, and HUD explains that he's documenting the night. Rob jokes that he can watch it every night in Japan. But we cut to Rob asking in a low voice if Beth is going to be here. HUD says that he's sure Lily invited her and questions, why wouldn't she be? After some shots of Lily and Jason on the dance floor and a girl passed out on the couch with a red Solo cup in her hand, HUD stands next to the spread of food in the kitchen. Getting snacks, Clark, played by Kelvin Yu, asks HUD how he's going to survive without Rob, since Rob is like his main dude. As Rob walks into the room, HUD posits the question to him, and Rob admits that he doesn't know. He's like HUD's main dude, and HUD agrees, straight up. It's like, okay, I guess that this is establishing their friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess thank you for establishing it, even though it is a tell, don't show kind of a way, because we were even talking earlier, that does not come through.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So this is the movie's way of telling us that you are best friends.
Yeah.
Without actually earning it.
Yeah, without saying it. Or
with
like
saying
you said.
With saying it, yeah. With only saying it.
Without saying best friend, it's like, oh, you're my guy. No,
Yeah.
you're my guy.
Yeah.
Okay, but you, again, if you're shooting, earlier when you were shooting Lily, you were not paying attention. You're not fully taking this serious. If this is my best friend going away, oh no, I want him to remember this.
I'm going to be so annoying come over here where we can hear you. You know, this is for Rob. He's leaving. I would be fucking annoying trying to get a good one from everyone.
Well, two things I guess can be true. I can be your best friend, but I'm also a really bad friend.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
that can be.
Yeah.
That's even more apparent in a minute.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, oh, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Like, we are no longer friends.
No, dude.
As 19-2000 by Gorillaz plays, HUD moves through the party, reminding everyone that he's not even here. He's just documenting.
This song took me back to being 10 years old.
It's so good, dude.
It's one of the first albums I ever bought. It's the second album I ever bought, I think.
That
Shaun
is
of the
one
Dead.
the
That is true. But if you expect me to pay attention to anything happening in this scene, I was just focused on the song. I will admit it's a brilliant track.
It's so good.
I might even use it on Instagram on Monday.
But he catches up with Rob and Jason and documents the brothers' conversation for a moment before his attention is drawn to the front door. In a glittering gold dress, Beth walks in with Travis, played by Ben Feldman.
Ben Feldman?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
You mean the one from As Above, So Below?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was very surprised to see him here.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't very long, but he is, I mean, he's here. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
If we're talking a likable protagonist,
Yeah.
Ben Feldman,
Mhm.
Yeah.
why aren't we just following him?
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Ginsberg from Mad Men.
Yes.
As you said, As Above, So Below. He
He
can handle it.
Yeah.
And it looks like he was also in The Perfect Man in 2005 and Friday the 13th, 2009.
That's right.
Was
Yeah.
he? Oh my God, I don't remember.
I tried to forget.
Yeah.
It's hard, man.
No, he's great though. And I would say quite underutilized in this.
Oh, yeah.
Lily rushes over to hug Beth, and when HUD pans the camera back to Rob, he's no longer laughing. He awkwardly excuses himself to go say hello to Beth. Once he walks away, Jason questions who the guy with Beth is, and HUD mutters that he's going to go check it out. He moves through the crowd, reminding that once again he's just documenting before catching up with Rob as he and Beth share a hug. She apologizes for missing the surprise because they had cab problems. After a moment, she introduces Rob to Travis, and Travis is kind, mentioning that he's heard a lot about Rob and congratulating him on his promotion to vice president.
Every Travis is very kind. It's it's just part
It's
of
in
it.
the code?
Yeah.
Jason sidles up, eyeing Travis, and HUD thrusts the camera toward his face, jarringly proclaiming that he's documenting the night. It's like, okay, dude.
It's obnoxious.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. Beth shoots a lingering look at Rob before she and Travis mingle in with the crowd. Left behind, Rob sips his beer and Jason questions, are they dating? Later, on the film that he is making for Rob, HUD records Beth and Travis chatting with a group of people before panning over to Rob, who sits alone watching them as he takes shots and grimaces.
What the fuck was that?
He's like, I'm trying to tell a story.
Yeah. Dude, your buddy's over there sad
You
as fuck.
Yeah.
You suck. HUD comes over, asking if Rob is okay, but he interrupts, asking if that's his camera that HUD's using. HUD explains that Jason gave it to him, but Rob just wants to know if the tape was changed because he had a tape in there. As if to prove this, we cut to Beth on the train once again back on April 27th, before we're back to them at the party. HUD is still explaining that the tape was in there when he got it, and Rob hangs his head dejectedly. When HUD asks what's wrong, Rob assures him that it doesn't even matter, it's stupid. He takes another shot, and HUD asks if he's sure he's okay. He's weirding HUD out because they haven't hung out or anything. In response, Rob pours another shot out and hands it over to HUD, who happily accepts it. Once again, HUD pushes his way through the crowd on a mission to get to Beth. The camera right in her face, he tells her that they're recording goodbyes for Rob, and he asks if she wants to participate. She clearly doesn't, politely telling HUD that now really isn't a good time as she looks over at her date. Travis stands by watching as HUD insists, saying that Rob is leaving and she's not going to be able to talk to him for a while. There's nothing she wants to say. She looks over at Travis again before asking him to go get her a drink. He says yes and leaves immediately. Beth reluctantly agrees to record the message once he's gone, and when HUD suggests that they do it in the kitchen, she says that that's perfect and leads the way. In the relative quiet of the kitchen, Beth tries to find her words. She tells Rob that she didn't want to do it on camera, but she does want to tell him how happy she is for him. She knows how hard he's worked for this and how much it means to him. She pauses before admitting that she is really going to miss him. Rob suddenly walks in and asks to talk to Beth for a second. She follows him out of the kitchen without another word, and HUD loses them in the crowd. He rushes to Jason, who is locked in at the foosball table. He tells him that Rob and Beth went out in the hall, and there's something weird going on with them.
Did the, I guess, for the lack of a better term, retrieval of Beth remind you a little bit of that scene from The Office with Tim and Don?
Yes. HUD opens the front door and peers out into the hallway where Rob and Beth are yelling at each other. She tells him that he never called her, and he fires back with her audacity to bring another guy to his party. But she reminds him that he hasn't called her for weeks. This is when they both spot HUD, who is fully standing in the hallway watching them now. Rob angrily starts toward him, but Lily steps out from the apartment and drags HUD back inside, assuring them that she's got it.
I want to see too, but you're being a nuisance.
It's too much. It's too much. HUD protests that he's documenting, but Lily isn't having it. He's not supposed to document this. He follows her, asking if she knows what they're fighting about, but she only offers him a shrug. He tells her that if she knows what's going on, she has to tell him, but she flat out says that she's not going to before rejoining the party. Even though she's gone, HUD asserts that as the guy documenting this, he should know. It was a really poor decision to put this camera in this man's face.
Yeah, I would say so.
Like John Paul said, Jason, go get it.
Yeah.
Go get it. He's done. He immediately snitches to Jason and tells him that Lily won't tell him what's going on and that she's in the kitchen. He follows Jason there where he confronts his girlfriend, who feigns ignorance. He can immediately tell she's lying and praises HUD for being a genius. Lily denies that there's anything to tell, but she can't help but grin. Jason and HUD both press her, Jason reminding Lily that he knows her. Lily deflates under the pressure and says that she'll tell them, but not on camera. HUD accepts this and lowers the camera, but is still recording when Lily leans in and shares in a hushed voice that Rob and Beth slept together a few weeks ago, and Beth made her promise not to tell.
Of course he did that with the camera.
Yeah.
And of course the Department of Defense is like, this is very, very juicy information.
Well, they're probably bored.
That's so funny. Jason is offended that Lily didn't tell him, and when HUD questions why she didn't tell him, she's like, why would I tell you? We immediately cut to HUD filming Jen and Antonio on the couch as he tells them that Rob and Beth totally had sex together. Listen, you get tea about other people and run and tell your best friend. Mm-hmm. You don't get the chisme on your best friend and then go tell other people.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either.
No, and are they like 19? Like,
What is
that?
This annoyed me so badly, and I know that it's probably supposed to be funny and supposed to be like, oh my God, HUD. But like, I was like, you're terrible. That's your best friend? But that's crazy.
But he's so relatable. He's the everyman.
Yeah, no.
He's the heart of this film.
This is what every one of us would do.
For sure.
Apparently.
Yeah,
sure. I don't know.
But Jen is in disbelief, and Antonio laughs and asserts that he knew it. Marlena sips her beer as she waits in line for the restroom, and HUD rushes to her, asking if she knew that Rob and Beth had sex, which she said that she doesn't even fucking know Rob.
Yeah.
Marlena is unfazed, saying that she didn't know. HUD continues that they've been friends forever, and honestly, Rob has been in love with her since college.
Again, this writing is like,
yeah.
You can't establish that another way.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Thank you for saying that. No.
Yes. And now we have it in our...
Yeah.
Good.
The person in the bathroom comes out, and before heading in, Marlena supposes that maybe it was a going away present. HUD agrees, but then it's like, were we supposed to get presents? Marlena closes the door in his face, which she did it for all of us.
Yeah.
Back at the party, HUD tells Heather and Lay, played by Liza Lapira and Lily Mirajnik, that Rob and Beth had sexual intercourse.
At least he's changing the tactic every time he tells it. Gotta give him that for variety, I guess. I was so shocked to see Liza Lapira here. I don't know if you remember, but literally the same year, she was on Dexter. She played Detective Yuki Amato.
Oh my God!
I think Internal Affairs, and she was trying to get Deb to turn over on
I
Quinn.
remember, yes!
And she should have. Quinn was a piece of shit.
I wanted to talk about Lily Mirajnik, more specifically about her mother, Ellen Mirajnik, who is the costume designer for this film. Her filmography as costume designer is wow.
Okay.
Just to name a few, she did Showgirls, Basic Instinct, Starship Troopers, Twister,
Wow.
Face Off,
Damn.
Hollow Man.
Oh.
She does Bridgerton now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she did Jacob's Ladder.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Uh-huh. But Heather and Lay are shocked and accuse HUD of making it up, but he promises that it's true. They're all interrupted when Beth comes back inside the apartment, slamming the door behind her. She spots Travis, who is still waiting with her drink. She makes it clear that it's time to leave. On their way out, they pass Rob, who is heading back in. Beth tells him coldly, "Good luck in Japan, Rob." But Rob counters, "Good luck tonight, Travis."
That is like the most childish bullshit.
It's appalling.
Yeah.
And I'm Travis. I'm sorry. I've been here 5 minutes. So you're in love with him or he's in love with you or what's
Yeah.
going on here? You two had sex and he never called you back. Like, what?
HUD is telling everyone.
Yeah. God damn.
I'm also here. I heard it all.
I'm sorry. The way that they're acting, I'm picking up on that pretty quick. And I'm going to be, why did you bring me here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do find it a little odd because from hearing what little we did, it sounds like he ghosted her after, maybe?
Yeah.
And even if you guys aren't dating and, whatever happened and then that was it, why are you mad she brought a date? Y'all weren't dating.
No.
Y'all weren't anything.
No. And you chose to not say anything
Yeah.
after.
That's true. And he also said it in front of the whole party.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, everybody's staring at them.
And everyone's
Yeah.
like, we already know most of the story, but this
Yeah.
is the next chapter, I
It's
think.
like, fuck, maybe HUD was on the Not to be a broken record, but you blew it. Like that's humiliating. But Beth looks at him in disgust before the door closes. HUD follows behind, asking if Rob is all right, but Jason comes over, telling HUD to just let him go. It's not the time. HUD protests that they should talk to him, but Jason reminds him angrily that he's already talked to the whole party. I did appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rob locks himself in the bedroom and HUD records Lily arguing with them. She reminds Jason that he's Rob's brother and reminds HUD that he's his best friend. It's their job to go make Rob happy. So HUD follows Jason to the closed bedroom door, wondering if he should do most of the talking or if Jason should. But Jason asserts that HUD is not going to be doing any talking.
I did. Hearing this little interaction right here, why wouldn't you just make HUD the little brother and Jason the best friend?
Yeah.
Why would you have these roles reversed?
I didn't even think of that.
That's actually perfect.
Because he's got little brother energy.
Yeah.
And that's a reason why they keep him around, because nobody would choose to keep this friend around.
It's true. No offense to little brothers. I am a little brother. I'm just
As
saying.
am I. So,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But little brothers can get away with more than a friend.
Yeah, I would be very mad if I'm telling my best friend something and then, or he finds something out like you said, and he's just going around gossiping and then he's like, what's the matter?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
They go into the bedroom and join Rob on the fire escape. When Rob tells his brother that he doesn't know what he's talking about, Jason invites him to explain it. Rob does. He says that it was a spur of the moment type thing. HUD jumps in and adds that Lily told them that after it happened, Rob just blew her off. He never even called. But Rob is emphatic that he didn't blow her off. He reminds HUD that he's leaving. What was he supposed to do? Hud mutters that Beth was heartbroken, but Rob continues that he and Beth are two separate things. They're not together, and it's better if they just stay friends. I would say even if that's your position, that's not even how you treat your friend.
No.
Yeah.
If it's like we had this really like intense or whatever night and day together, but obviously I'm leaving, maybe we shouldn't take it any further. With a friend, you have that conversation with them.
Yeah. And I just want to point out how funny it was that he snitched out Lily immediately.
He did. But Lily said,
I was like, dude.
Like, great.
well, even if I were Jason, I'd be like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's true.
It's my girlfriend. It cuts to Rob defending himself, saying that he never said he felt like he wasn't good enough for her, but Jason corrects him. He's not good enough for Beth. That's just facts. Beth McIntyre is from a whole other planet, which is an interesting choice of words.
Mm.
He tells Rob that Beth is beautiful and charming, and as much as he loves his brother, he has to admit that Rob is kind of a douchebag, and moving to Japan isn't going to fix that.
I feel like maybe the going away party isn't the best place to
Yeah.
tell.
I love you, though.
Yeah,
I'm
but you
gonna miss
are a piece of shit. It's like, God damn, bro.
Wait till this is done. Yeah.
Yes. Wait till everybody leaves or
Yeah.
something. I gotta go and face these people.
This was a touching moment.
He continues that Beth is crazy about him right now, and Hud reminds Rob that he's in love with Beth too. But Rob counters that it's just not that simple. Jason, though, is adamant that it is. All that matters are moments. He advises his brother to learn to say forget the world and hold on to the people that he cares about the most. But Jason's sage wisdom is cut short when a boom shakes the foundation of the apartment building. They quake and wonder what's going on. When Hud pans the camera over to the brightly lit buildings of Manhattan, they all fall dark, one by one. Hud follows Jason and Rob back into the party, admitting that scared the shit out of him. As Hud calls out for Lily, people at the party scream in alarm and wonder aloud if it was an earthquake. The lights come back on, and when Jason finds Lily, he hugs her tight and makes sure that she's okay. As Marlena walks by, Hud questions if she's all right, but she just pushes past him. They crowd around the TV, where NY1 reporter Roma Tori, playing herself, reports that 15 minutes after a possible earthquake in lower Manhattan, they're now receiving word of an oil tanker capsizing in the middle of the harbor, right by the Statue of Liberty. They show footage of the capsized tanker, and Hud comments that that's really close. Jason proposes that if they go on the roof, they might be able to see it. Antonio is on board, and despite some of the partygoers thinking that this is a bad idea, a group heads into the stairwell.
I'm very confused by the timing of all of this because we just felt the rumble, saw the lights go out or whatever. The news anchor is saying it was 15 minutes ago, and then she's like, I believe it was a boking accident. So I don't know what to believe right now.
Right.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, what is the narrative here?
Not a boking accident. Some of them mutter in worried tones about the possibility of a terrorist attack, and Hud follows close behind Lily and Jason as other residents of the apartment building come out into the hall. On the roof, the group breaks into smaller clusters of conversation, commenting on the lights going out and coming back on. Hud suggests to Rob that maybe he should have left earlier, but before Rob can reply, there's a loud explosion on the horizon. Hud zooms in on this, the explosion blooming from a cluster of buildings, fiery debris shooting high up into the sky. Collectively, they run to the door, and as Hud rushes with them, the fire streaks across the sky coming toward them. The camera cuts in and out, and we see the chaos in flashes, explosions landing home, people cowering in the stairwell as the foundation shakes. The camera is dropped but snatched back up as the group runs down the stairs, while the lights flicker on and off and more explosions boom.
I'm sorry, but with all the drinking and this and running around, I'm throwing up before we go any further.
1000%.
I've got to get this out of me. I need to think. Did you just do it halfway?
We need a fresh start.
Yeah, oh, no.
I just have to ask, I understand something has gone on outside,
Yeah.
but why are we outside?
That's a good point.
There is no fucking way after what we just saw and heard, and now there's explosions we got to deal with.
Yeah.
We're going back into that apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe in the panic because we just saw a building explode, but I just can't see how you'd be any safer out on the street. I mean, I don't know.
Let's just mix and mingle in the street.
Yeah, well.
Where all of this has just happened. It's like, this is wild. I don't know.
It's horrifying.
I would be cowering maybe behind a mailbox or something.
Something.
I don't understand. One thing that I did find was interesting, and there will be more later, but I did read on a website, I believe it's called Cloverpedia.
That was a good resource as well. I forgot to mention that.
But they mentioned that every building collapse, every situation where there's a cloud of dust or anything like this, they went through great lengths to make sure that it appeared physically and structurally accurate.
Okay.
And it was given to Reeves and Abrams, who had the final say in everything, and it was a requirement that they okayed every single bit of destruction like this.
All right.
And so every bit of clouds that you see, every dust, all this stuff, to that detail, it had to go through them.
Huh.
It's remarkable.
Yeah.
I'm not claiming to be any kind of demolitions expert or anything, but it is strikingly realistic to my eye.
Yes.
They finally make it out onto the street, but it's chaos. Crowds of people are running toward them, but the group stops to look at where they're fleeing from. HUD even zooms in on a giant plume of smoke rising between the buildings. Rob, Marlena, and Lily stand around him, making sure no one got hurt and questioning if anyone's seen Jason. A crowd runs between them, and Lily struggles against it, but stops and stares in disbelief. HUD turns the camera in the direction of her gaze just in time to see something hurled through the sky. It crashes into one of the buildings before falling, skidding and shattering the street as it rolls. It finally comes to a stop next to a crashed and dying street light, and we can see that it's the severed head of the Statue of Liberty. Now, this was the end of that, well, a version of this, because it did kind of evolve, but this was the end of that teaser trailer.
Oh.
That everybody was like, what the fuck is this?
Wow, okay.
You can still find it on YouTube. It's them at the party, and then they come out, and at the very end, you see that it's the head of the Statue of Liberty. So this was very, very important to kind of even the development and the word of mouth and everything about this film. J.J. Abrams said that it was, to him, an homage to Escape from New York.
Oh.
Because he loved the visual of it on the poster, and he loved the film, but was disappointed that we never see it in the film. So he wanted to do it in this. But like I said, it was super important. They said that this head, getting it right, this was one of the first things that they started and one of the last things that they finished.
Wow.
A big issue that they had was people thinking that the head of the Statue of Liberty is bigger than it actually is. When they built it to scale, people were underwhelmed by the size of it. They said it was only about 11.5 feet from ear to ear.
Really?
Yeah. And so people were like, well, no, like 13 people can stand in the crown. And they're like, that is simply not true. We just think that it's bigger than it is. So the version in the film, and we were talking the other day, T and I were, that it's still, we felt like it looked too small.
Yeah.
But the version that we see in the film is 50% bigger than the actual head on the Statue of Liberty, according to the production.
I'm going to believe you for all the research you've done, but I don't know, dude. I've never been to New York, but you can fit a lot of people in that fucking head.
I thought so too.
Dude, 2 werewolves skydove from or bungee jumped from it in that film in the 90s.
Well, are we not even saying the name?
But thinking about it too, though, they do ride the Statue of Liberty in the Ghostbusters movie, and only the 4 of them really fit comfortably up there.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was just funny to me because I came across that in the research, and T and I had talked the night before, and he was like, does that head look really small to you? And I was like, yeah, it does.
I think it's just hard to believe that the head of the Statue of Liberty could fit comfortably in the middle of a street.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right.
It does look like, I mean, it is a massive statue, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're right. I would feel like it would be bigger than that.
Yeah, but they said it was a common misconception that they kind of had to work. It was working against them because when they built the correct size, people were like, what the hell is that?
Is that an ornament?
Yeah.
But there's a mixture of panicked yelling and stunned silence as HUD zooms in on the staring carved eye of the statue. People crowd around and record on their phones. Jason runs over, finally having found them, and he and Lily share an embrace. There's a loud screech and the rumbling of pieces falling from a building. And when HUD turns the camera back to see, it appears that something gigantic moves among the skyscrapers. He turns back to his group and asks if they saw that, but none of them did. Pedestrians scream, and when HUD looks back up the street, he captures the Woolworth Tower collapsing. It buckles, crashing down to the street in a flurry of debris and flashing lights. When the resulting cloud of dust rolls down the street toward them, the group seeks refuge in the bodega. HUD settles down in between the aisles with his friends, just in time for the lights to go out. People race by the windows screaming, but in the darkness, their view of the outside is completely taken over by swirling dust and dirt. The lights come back on, and an earth-shaking quake sends the bodega rocking and items falling off of shelves. HUD tries to tell Rob and the group that he saw something. He asks if they saw it too, but no one is paying any attention to him. He calls Rob again and again, saying that he saw it and it's alive. Before he can elaborate, the bodega's windows come crashing in, spraying glass and smoke everywhere.
I know he's trying to share information and he did see something, but shut your fucking mouth. We're all scared and we're like trying to hide.
You're not helping.
Yeah, wait a second, dude.
Rob, it's alive.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Just wait, because I think I pissed myself and we've got to find a way to get out of here.
HUD drops the camera and coughs ring out in the small store, but there is an unmistakable roar and the rhythmic crashing of giant footsteps. The rattling camera is picked back up, and in the new cloudy haze of the bodega, Jason steps out of the aisle, taking unsteady steps toward the front door. Lily and Rob beg him not to go, but when he makes no sign of slowing down, they follow him.
I will say one of the cooler shots in this film is from the inside of this bodega out into the street.
Yeah.
The silhouettes through the smoke.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Oh, yeah.
It's scary, too.
Oh, yeah.
They step out onto the street, caked with the same dust that hangs heavy in the air, lit unnaturally orange from the resulting fires. It is eerily quiet aside from the wailing sirens, with confused people gathering themselves and softly consoling each other. Someone stumbles toward them, and when Lily recognizes Marlena, disheveled and shaken, she rushes to hug her. HUD pans the camera around the street, capturing the buildings with smashed open windows, pouring out fire and thick plumes of smoke. The cars are smashed useless in the street, and of course, the decapitated head of the Statue of Liberty with the crowd from the party gathered around it. But his focus, of course, is Marlena, as she sits on the curb in shock and Lily tries to talk to her. His attention is pulled away when Rob pops in front of him, reminding HUD that he said he saw something. What did he see? It takes HUD a moment to remember that he captured it all on tape. Rob has rejoined the gathered crowd and their frantic voices mingle together. HUD raises his, offering to rewind it so that everyone can see. We cut to Beth on the train back in April. With a big smile, she tells Rob that it's a great opportunity and he should go. When he laments that he doesn't speak the language, she asks how hard it could be. She smiles even wider when he tells her that it will be Japanese hard. Still, she assures him that it will be fine and encourages him to go. Back on the street, Jen and Antonio are not pleased with what HUD has just shown them. They argue that it doesn't make any sense, and the rest of the partygoers speak over each other in their panic and disbelief.
What is there to argue about?
Yeah.
We were just shown evidence of what the fuck just happened.
Yeah.
I think it's very Stan Uris, where it's like, yeah, I know I saw that and I know that this is real, but I'm just not going to subscribe to that.
I can't handle that right now.
I'm just not, no.
I'm going to
I
Japan
say no.
tomorrow.
Yeah. No, sure. I got a flight to catch.
Jason yells over them, telling them to shut up and pointing out that they don't know what they just saw. The important thing is that it's still here, so they need to get the hell out of Manhattan. The camera comes back a little later to find Rob and Jason arguing with Clark about the Brooklyn Bridge being the best and fastest way to get out of here. But HUD abandons this pretty quickly and finds Lily and Marlena still sitting on the side of the road. Marlena's head is lowered, but Lily wants to know what's going on. HUD tells her that he thinks they're getting out of here, and he asks if Marlena is okay. Lily assures him that she is, and she helps Marlena to her feet, but dazed, Marlena mutters, "It was eating people. It was eating everyone." Lily just shoots a look over the camera at HUD before guiding Marlena away.
I'm sorry?
What was that last thing you said?
Yeah, that is fucking frightening. I thought it was bad enough that this creature is roaming through the city, whatever it is. If it's a creature, I don't know.
No, yeah.
We've yet to
The
figure it out.
photography was very,
Right.
it wasn't enough. But I just think that it was eating people was not given the...
Oh, no, yeah. That puts a whole new threat level on what's going on.
Yeah, the destruction of buildings was bad enough.
Yeah.
But what, how, when, it was huge.
No, you're right.
Can we
Yeah.
talk about it?
Because even in the context of the film, that's not something that we revisit.
Not really. There's some things that enjoy, but it's not as much about devouring.
No.
Right.
So it's, although she was very shaken up, she could be incorrect.
He was just wiping his nose.
Yeah.
With people?
Yeah.
They're sure.
It looks like tissues.
One thing I will say is from that apartment, which is a real apartment that they filmed in New York City,
Oh, okay.
down to the street is actually... Now, I heard on commentary it was the Paramount backlot, and then I heard on a featurette that it was the Warner Brothers backlot. But
Okay.
regardless, it's a set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That street. And they're seamless. Again, these transitions between these real and fabricated locations is such a remarkable thing. But something else that they talked about was doing long, continuous takes from this point forward.
Yeah.
And it's something that you see and you kind of don't even realize because they hide the cuts so well through the motion of the camera.
Yeah.
And so on commentary, there were times it's like, there's a cut right there. You're like, I would have never even guessed.
Wow.
No.
Because it literally just feels like they get out in the street, the building collapses, the dust, they run into the bodega, they come back out. It seems like it's just one take this entire thing.
It
Yeah.
does.
But it's not.
And that's one thing I will, again, and I know we've already said it, but that this movie does really, really good.
Yeah.
This, like, we're here with them, what shit's going on.
Yeah.
And to your point earlier where you were talking about not being this like omniscient camera, they were inspired by the film Children of Men with these long continuous takes, but their idea was to take what they did in that film and put you on the ground with everyone as a person holding a camera.
Yeah.
Ah.
And so it's a very interesting way to do it. And I think that is one of the more effective things that they do in this film.
Yeah.
I would agree. It is crazy you talking about them, these streets and stuff being sets, to look up pictures and stuff and just see how much of it is just green.
Yes.
Like I truly, if you were like, this was on the street, okay, this was on the bridge, okay, like I wouldn't even guess.
No. There's a scene we'll talk about in just a second where how they filmed it is really remarkable.
Okay.
But HUD follows his friends down the street, past a car parked on the curb that's engulfed in flames. A building across the street continues to crumble, the rubble crashing onto the street below, and HUD lingers on the half-finished meals still set on outdoor dining tables of a restaurant. Rob turns on a quest for his cell phone and asks HUD if he has his. HUD checks, but is angry when he realizes he left it back at the apartment. They continue forward, ignoring blood-curdling screams, and when they pass paramedics working on injured people confined to stretchers, Jason ushers Lily and Marlena forward. They pass an officer, played by Jason Serboni, doing his best to direct everyone forward toward the bridge. HUD slows to ask the officer, what was that thing? But the officer tells him as kindly as he can that if he's not injured, he needs to keep moving. And so he does, hurrying to join his friends. He gets close to Lily, Marlena, and Jason. Jason asks Lily if Marlena is going to be okay, and Lily insists that she is. HUD calls out to her and tells her that she saw it. What was it? Marlena turns silently to look at him as they continue to walk, but when Lily tells him not now, he offers a small apology and Marlena faces forward. They cross the Brooklyn Bridge in a horde of people. A helicopter hovers overhead and a voice floats down to them from a megaphone, instructing them to keep moving. It assures them that there will be instructions on the other side of the bridge. HUD lingers the camera on someone standing to the side and filming across the water. He follows their focus to an overturned boat overtaken by flames. Another helicopter shines a beam of light at the Statue of Liberty where her head once was. Continuing to move with the crowd, Rob asks if HUD is still filming. HUD says that people are going to want to know what happened, and when Rob offers that HUD could just tell them, he counters that it wouldn't work. People need to see this. It will be important and people will watch this.
So they're somewhat satisfying that found footage requirement.
Yeah.
For now.
For now. One thing I will say, though, is when we start with the shot of the bridge, that is the actual Brooklyn Bridge that they're on.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
Yes. And then he dips the camera down for just a second, and it's a set.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Rob's phone rings and he answers it, calling Beth's name and telling her that he's been trying to reach her. He moves through the traffic and goes to the side of the bridge, trying to hear Beth on the other end. HUD follows him, yelling at Lily and the rest of the group to hold on and stop walking. Lily turns at the sound of his voice, and when HUD tells her that Rob got a hold of Beth, she yells for Jason to stop walking. Jason turns toward them, but the tide of the crowd continues to sweep him forward. I'm not going to lie. I'm already annoyed at Rob stepping to the side of the bridge to stop and walk and talk.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing? I just feel, I don't know. It's
No,
giving
I'm not busy.
main character. Yeah. No, I can talk. It's giving main character energy. Like, the whole world does not need to stop because Beth just called you.
Right.
Keep fucking walking. Like, there's a helicopter telling you to keep fucking walking. I don't know. It's annoying.
You can multitask.
You multitask.
Yeah, and I think you kind of already blew it, dude.
Yeah. Remember the last thing you said to her?
Yeah.
She called to say, before, in case one of us dies, I just want to tell you I hate you.
Yeah.
HUD turns the camera back to Rob, leaning against the side of the bridge. He tells Beth to calm down and asks her, "What do you mean you can't move?" I'm sorry. It's always funny to me on chosen movies when they're talking on the phone and they're like, "What do you mean you're late for your class?" Like, it's like nobody...
And I'm sorry,
nobody repeats it like that.
Can you tell me what else could be gleaned from that sentence?
Yeah.
To have to repeat it? What the fuck are you talking about?
The bright light of a helicopter suddenly settles on them as water audibly splashes and the bridge rocks. A sense of uneasiness begins to ripple through the crowd. HUD aims the camera at the bridge below, where people have abandoned their cars and are running. The crowd starts to surge, and Marlena asks HUD if he saw anything, to which he admits that he didn't. Ahead of them, Jason has pulled himself up on a pillar, yelling over, wanting to know why they stopped. Lily suddenly screams for him to watch out, and water begins to rain down on Jason. It's coming from an impossibly large tentacle-like tail that is flown out from the water. It comes down hard on the bridge, breaking it in half. Everyone falls, including HUD, and our view is on the ground as Lily continues to scream her boyfriend's name. HUD brings himself to his feet and joins the crowd sprinting towards him as the bridge steadily falls apart. Lily tries to go back for Jason, but Marlena pulls her forward. A strange roaring rings out, and the support cables for the bridge one by one begin to snap. HUD begs everyone to go as he continues to run off the sinking bridge. They did say that what broke the bridge apart was going to be the creature's hand, but that it looked hilarious. And
I'm sure.
And so they changed it to obviously a digital tail, but the rain coming down on Jason and the bridge was practical.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was this an accident on behalf of the monster?
Yeah. Actually, yes. And there's a couple more things that J.J. Abrams said that I found very interesting in regards to this monster and kind of its intentions and its demeanor. But I also read that Mike Vogel still holds out hope that Jason is alive, that he managed to swim away, because we don't see him die.
Yeah, okay.
That is something that comes up a lot in my notes because they are not even holding out a second of hope
Oh, no,
for him
yeah.
at all.
Well, that's my note. Jason's dead.
Yeah.
He's just gone. He's just
Well, they
gone.
all kind of just run
Yeah.
with that.
That is true. But my thing, I'm thinking, I've seen other bridges collapse in films. If Richard Gere can dive in and save Laura Linney,
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
Jason could maybe swim away.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's true.
And I will say, dead or not, he has departed from the film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did find him more interesting than I do Rob.
Mhm.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
like I
Yeah.
find Lily more interesting than I do Beth.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know why it happens so often that we're stuck with these bland protagonists.
Yeah.
I think from a writer's viewpoint, I think a lot of people write protagonists that the audience can imprint themselves on. And so if they have too much personality, maybe the person watching can't relate to them. Like they need to be just bland enough for you to be able to see something of yourself in Beth. Oh, I was in this weird unrequited relationship one time. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, I stay in my dad's penthouse or whatever. Like, I don't know. But I think that happens a lot. And I think sometimes it is interesting to introduce a character that maybe established and well-rounded characters are explaining things to that character and you can be that character. But to have it be protagonist, to me, it is very unsatisfying and disappointing a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't really ever work for me.
No.
I think it's just a boring way to write characters, and it's very like marketing forward.
It's
Yeah.
that.
And it's kind of gross.
It needs to be, it comes off like it has to be palatable for everyone.
Yeah.
That no matter who is watching this, you have to relate to Rob. You have to like Beth. And it's like, no, I would rather have a complex and flawed character that fucks up. You know what I mean? That's not 100% good, or Beth is fucking from another planet or whatever. Like, it just doesn't, it is kind of lazy.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, not that Lily is completely complex and whatever, but I think her and Marlena are more complexly written than Beth is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the small time that we get to spend with Jason and Lily together is enough for us to understand their relationship, or at
Yeah.
least kind of, like you said, assume or guess, I bet they're fun together. Are they whatever?
Well, and the differences in their personalities and their bickering, and like they seem like two actual people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But Jason is dead. or gone from the film.
Swimming away.
Yeah. On the street, we get glimpses of panicked people as Hud pants, running for his life. He passes through a tunnel, and on the other side, he finds Lily, Marlena, and Rob standing outside of a Sephora. I was a little surprised.
Yeah.
Just a couple things. Firstly, when Hud falls on his way to the Sephora, that was the cinematographer who shot that and caught up in the frenzy of the crowd. He actually fell.
Oh.
It wasn't just like a tropey situation. It was actually an accident that they just left in the film.
Well, it worked.
Yeah, it does.
In regard to this Sephora,
Yes.
so again, they were just on the Brooklyn Bridge, and then they're on a set of the Brooklyn Bridge and the switch that is made there. But they run out and they run through that arch, and they're in front of the store. They're in Los Angeles, a real street in Los Angeles, and the production designer, a guy called Mark Wist, who actually worked on Super 8, The Cabin in the Woods, and Devil.
Okay.
He scored a deal with Sephora to use their branding to make this store to make it appear more realistic in the real world. Unfortunately, a lot of people in Los Angeles were driving by and they're like, "We're getting a Sephora?"
Oh,
No, you're not.
that's
Yeah.
You know what's so like ridiculous of me? A person that has never been to LA or New York City. I was about to be like, well, it really does feel like New York. I don't fucking know that. I watch a lot of Sex in the City, but I don't know that.
Well, it feels like our idea of New York.
No,
Okay,
yeah.
I was like, you are annoying. Why did you almost say that?
Because you feel like you're there.
Yeah. But again, it's the atmosphere of the movie or
Yes.
the way they put us in there.
Yeah. Lily is hysterical, sobbing that Jason was there 1 second and the next he was gone. Marlena tries her best to console her friend, but Rob just wanders away. Catching his breath, Hud sincerely apologizes to Rob for the loss of his brother, but Rob doesn't seem to be registering at all what's being said. Hud looks past him, where a group of people break through the glass door of an electronics store and let themselves in. He realizes that they can't stay here, and when he tells Rob, he doesn't really react. Hud reasons with him that they have to get to the Manhattan Bridge and try to get to the Lincoln Tunnel. He admits that he doesn't know what to do, but it isn't safe here. He continues to say Rob's name, trying to get him to understand what he's saying, but Rob is unresponsive until his phone beeps. He snatches it out of his pocket and opens it, only to be angry when he realizes that it's dead. People continue to go past on the street, but Rob suddenly perks up and sprints away. Marlena stares after him confused, but Hud volunteers to bring Rob back. Rob, up to this point, has been a pretty innocuous character. He did annoy me a little bit on the Brooklyn Bridge, but this is when I actively start to be fucking annoyed by almost everything that he does.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with him abandoning his friends at the Sephora.
It does. Yeah. You don't abandon me at a Sephora unless you're giving me money to shop. Okay, let's get that straight right now. It is like, I understand you've got tunnel vision, whatever, but like, you need to be here, and like, it's, you know, whatever. He's in shock. I feel like there are a lot of excuses that could be made for Rob, but especially once we get into the store, I was like, I don't fucking like this dude anymore. I was just really annoyed. But Hud follows Rob across the street to the electronics store that was just broken into. He reminds Rob that this place is closed, but he follows him inside anyway. Looters pass him carrying large boxes as Rob disappears into the back of the store, but Hud stays behind, lingering on a news report showing on one of the TVs. They report on panic in Manhattan, where a bridge full of pedestrians has just collapsed. Hud turns the TV up as they cut to footage from their helicopter. Through the tall buildings, they capture something impossibly huge lurking. The light bouncing off of the creature's skin does nothing to deter it. Hud is distracted by military vehicles passing outside. Orders from a megaphone demand an immediate evacuation, and people continue to run past Hud, but he zooms in on the buildings, catching another glimpse of the creature moving among them. He hurries back into the store where Rob is searching behind the counter for what he needs. Hud warns him that they need to get out of here right now because there's some serious shit going on outside. Rob completely ignores him, just grabs what he needs and hurries away. Hud calls after him, but he's struck silent when he turns to see a group full of looters, their arms full of merchandise, silently staring at the row of TVs under the ceiling. Hud joins them and looks up at the news report. The reporter's shaky voice concedes that the military won't let them get too close, but we see clearer footage of the creature than we've seen yet. It is hulking and grotesque, huge hands at the end of severely angled arms, its legs bent backwards like an animal. It moves amongst the skyscrapers, stopping at one point to scratch its back against one, loosening what has been residing there. The reporter points out that something is falling from its skin.
Once again, that's very troubling.
Yeah.
And we'll learn even more how troubling that is.
Oh, yeah.
I want to commend the film because one of the best choices they make is to do like a Spielberg in Jaws, and they show you just enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't give away too much. You don't see this creature head on for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You see bits and pieces, different parts here and there, and it's really successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was wondering, though, how come they're not calling Godzilla in here to help? I mean, there's Ferris
Isn't that what
Bueller.
they
Didn't
did?
he call him before? Walter White did it. 11. What's going on? Where's the help?
That's their problem,
Yeah.
honestly.
I thought that was going to be the twist because,
All right.
but I guess not.
But those pieces fall down to the soldiers below and quickly take the shape of smaller creatures with several taloned legs. These parasites tackle some of the waiting soldiers, making short work of them. Marlena and Lily enter the store. They've swapped roles now, Marlena dragging Lily along and demanding to know where Rob is. She finds him and tries to reason that the military is evacuating everyone. Hud agrees with her, mentioning that it's time... He says, it's time to leave the electronics store, which it was a ridiculous line.
Yes.
I know that a lot of this was improv, but that was ridiculous.
I just want to say, especially after we saw maybe like a spider dog kind of a
something.
thing. We're never leaving this electronics store. I am never going on that street again.
That's a fair point, because it was right up the street.
Yeah. And we saw what it did to people with guns.
Yeah.
We have his dodgy cell phone. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh. Is it at least a Nokia?
I
mean,
the film is sponsored.
yeah.
Clearly. I did want to talk about those parasites for a second, because J.J. Abrams talked about the fact that there is no way to have a one-on-one fight with these humans and this colossal monster. So that's why the parasites were created, to give kind of like an on-the-ground danger of something closer to human size.
I understand that, and I honestly think that it's the most unsettling thing in the film.
Yeah.
The way that they use it, the suspense that comes a little later.
Yeah.
The way that they move.
Oh, yeah.
They're too fast.
Yeah, dude, it's too much.
Also, now that we've seen a little bit more of this creature, I wanted to talk about the designer.
Okay.
The creature was designed by Neville Page.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, the judge from Face Off, an
Yeah.
iconic creature designer. But they said that he was the first person that they met with, because Neville Page not only knows how to design a creature, but he knows how to think in terms of how would this creature walk, how would it breathe, how would it live, what would its skin be like. Like, he's very, very in depth. But he designed it, and then the Tippett studio
Really
brought it to life. Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah.
But Marlena hurries Rob along, and he stops in his tracks, snapping at her. He's finally able to access his voicemail and listens intently to a message from Beth. She sobs in his ear, telling him that her whole apartment wall fell and she's trapped and bleeding. She repeats his name in her cries, begging him to come and help her. But then his phone is like, to delete this message. I was like, oh my God. How insensitive.
Yeah.
Rob takes a moment to let this all sink in, but he still doesn't acknowledge his friends at all before walking past them and out onto the street. Again, I understand the whole, like, we gotta save Princess Peach thing as the motivation to propel this forward, to kind of not do the evacuation that the military is calling for. I know that we need something to keep us in the city. I know that Rob is probably in shock. But the whole ignoring them, it just, maybe it's just a bit heavy-handed for me.
Yeah, no, I agree, because for me, as the story progresses, I was a little confused at his reaction to Jason and then this.
Yes!
And I was like, I mean, I get, you guys were best friends and y'all shared a moment or whatever. Then you ghosted each other. That was your brother. You watched that.
Yeah.
Like, you seen that.
Yeah.
And your reation to that was very tiny.
And he's like, Beth left me a message.
Yeah.
He's like, well, the last time I talked to him, he told me I was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, he didn't end great with Beth either.
No, he didn't.
So, I mean, yeah, justice for Jason, because that's some bullshit.
It is.
They follow behind Rob as he talks on his phone, promising Beth that he's coming. HUD reminds Rob that Beth lives in Midtown, and there's some horrific shit happening in Midtown. Marlena agrees, adamant that they're not walking into the middle of the city. Rob tells her that she's right. He points down the alleyway, and on the street on the other side, soldiers and military vehicles pass, leading a large crowd in the opposite direction. Rob tells her that they're not going and assures her that the military will get them out of here. Okay, Rob, thanks. Bye.
We're going to go this way.
Tell Beth we said hi. He continues down the street, but HUD isn't accepting this. He reasons that someone is going to have to tackle him, and that's going to be unpleasant for everyone involved. But Rob finally turns and talks to his friend. He tells HUD that he is not talking him out of this. He's not being crazy. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he is not going to be talked out of it. Lily finally speaks up with a simple sentiment. I'm coming with you. Rob tries to tell her that she doesn't have to do that, but she insists that she wants to. Marlena tries to talk sense into her friend. She reminds her that they all heard Beth's message. Even if they do make it to her apartment, there's a chance that she could be, but Rob tells her to shut up. As a downed wire crackles loudly, Rob and Lily start down the street. Again, I think about the testimonial that Lily was recording for Rob, and when she was telling basically that with him gone, I'm going to have to look after Jason or whatever, it feels like with Jason gone, now she's trying to look after Rob.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just that little moment of characterization gives more of a pass on why the fuck she would do this.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm not really asking for a lot. You know what I mean? But Rob is just, it's like, I get it, you love her. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me, which is interesting because Reeves said, I have a quote from him that says, without Rob and Beth in this subplot, you would just be watching a video game. And that you need Rob and Beth to make this film interesting or successful.
I feel like the idea is what you need.
Yeah.
Maybe the execution is just not satisfying.
Right.
Yeah. HUD continues to follow, trying desperately to talk his friend out of this. He's accosted by Russian man on street, played by Pasha D. Lichnikov, who babbles at him in Russian as blood pours down the side of his face. But HUD tells him that he can't understand him and pushes past. He has to struggle to catch up with Rob and Lily. He asks if Rob tried calling the police, the fire department. Rob says that he did try, but he couldn't get through. Just then, the creature steps into the street, knocking down pieces of the buildings. As soon as it's visible, a projectile soars over the group's head and explodes in the monster's vicinity.
Just something very quickly, they added that scene in the alley, the moment where the Russian man accosts him.
Yeah.
They said as kind of like a little bit of a seed to show that everybody is kind of living their own movie tonight.
Okay, I like that.
All right.
I did read, and I couldn't confirm it anywhere, that I think he's saying that he's looking for his wife and his daughter or something like that.
Okay.
So that kind of does, just because HUD doesn't understand, and maybe a lot of the audience watching doesn't understand, that's a whole separate story happening in the city tonight.
Yeah.
They said you're supposed to also think about all the other people with cameras, that everybody else is kind of filming their own Cloverfield.
You know what is cool? This could be like an anthology film.
It could be.
Or even a show, like a miniseries.
Yeah, I probably would have liked that a little better because I'm going to be honest, I'm just following them and that's really all I'm paying attention to.
Yeah.
Because everything keeps happening and then they're trying to go on this mission and this and that, and then it's like, we're hanging on to what's going on around them. We might not be happy with HUD and who we're following, but we are in this happening with them. We're in this situation together. But I don't like following HUD through it.
No.
The more that I think about it, the more that I like the idea of this being an anthology. I think that we were asked that on one of the last episodes of Talk Mortem.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's a better answer than whatever I gave. Because you have these giant landmarks that everybody knows and recognizes, and that could be incorporated into every story.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like, that could be pretty fucking cool.
I did want to talk about how they filmed this sequence right here.
Mm-hmm.
So they were using, at least from what I understood, for a lot of this, filming on a handheld Sony camera.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever it came to digital and visual effects, they had to switch to a camera, I believe it's called the Thomson Viper Film Stream camera.
Oh.
Ooh.
But this was to shoot these digital sequences to be able to add what they needed later.
Okay.
And the very interesting thing about this camera is that David Fincher had just used it to film Zodiac.
Oh.
And so he actually sat down with the cinematographer and Reeves to explain to them how to use it.
How cool.
But just like in Zodiac, you see when they're walking down the street, because this is a set, this entire sequence. They're walking down the street in the behind-the-scenes footage. It is those buildings and then just a large blue rectangle. And they have like ambulances and cars driving past it to kind of give the sense of realism.
Yeah.
But it's all to just extend the street digitally.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what they did in Zodiac.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But they were talking about having to, because whenever you're talking about filming a sequence that you're going to add digital elements to later, it's usually with a fixed camera or a camera that is following like on a track to make sure that it's easy to map out later.
Yeah.
Right.
But we're dealing with a lot of handheld and frenetic movements.
Yes.
And so what they had to do is they had to build these animatics to kind of get an idea of what the director wanted to do in each sequence where they were going to add these things. And so they built the animatics to see, but then they filmed the actors in live action to get the sequence of what they wanted. But the team that was handling the visual effects would go to the set and they would film every single aspect of the set. After they did that, they would rebuild the set digitally. And after doing that, they were able to move the camera movements after building grids based on the real set that they digitally recreated.
That's really cool.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because you're having to not only capture every element of the set, but rebuild it and then match it to what was shot so frenetically.
Yeah.
And so after they do that, only then are they able to add in all the digital elements that they created, but it follows the movement of the camera. And so if you're looking at it flat, you would see like the monster at the end of the street doing all of his stuff. But when we get the film, we're watching it through the way that HUD has filmed it.
Yeah.
So it's a remarkable thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's so successful, too. The creature's still out there, Dave.
Oh, no. I will never
Right?
get over it. No.
We're blending Zodiac, I thought.
Yeah.
No? Oh, okay,
Sure.
okay. Okay.
I think Richard, the Kryptonian orphan, is losing it right now.
Yeah, that was for you. A troop hurries toward them, running on foot and riding in tanks. Rob, HUD, Lily, and Marlena scurry off to the sides of the road, HUD on one side and the other three on the other. They fire at the creature with guns and bombs and missiles. Dust and debris fill the street as HUD watches and catches a glimpse of his friends on the other side. The creature looms high, caught in the shaky movement of the camera as it's attacked. HUD screams for Rob as the troops continue to run by, but Rob is talking to Lily and Marlena. He finally walks as close as he can without stepping into the street and points his camera toward everyone currently fighting the monster. He screams over the chaos that they're going this way. Holding Lily's hand, Marlena runs out into the street and in the direction that Rob is pointing. Rob goes after them and HUD is in disbelief. Screaming, he gets up and follows, lamenting that this shit is crazy. He follows his friends as they bob and weave out of the way of the fight, narrowly escaping being stepped on by the monster, and when HUD looks up, we get the briefest glimpse of its face, its yawning maw opened wide as it shrieks. HUD follows his friends down the stairs to the subway, and when he looks back up the street, his view is completely obstructed by explosions. HUD falls the rest of the way down the stairs, and Rob hurries over to help him up. He brings HUD over to the rest of the group where Marlena has collapsed to the ground, struggling to catch her breath. Everyone pants, trying to regroup as HUD pans around the empty subway. Rob looks around, trying to get his bearings, and he comes back to HUD and reports that they can cross on the platforms and go up the stairs to get to the other side of the street. HUD counters that side is the same as this side, but Rob argues that they can just wait for a lull. HUD reminds him that the air caught on fire. There's not going to be a lull. Rob continues to stand firm on his decision, but HUD interrupts him. He promises his friend that he is with him. He really is, but he has to listen to what's going on up there. To illustrate HUD's point, explosions boom overhead and the lights start to flicker. Even Lily tells Rob that HUD is right. They just have to wait. The muffled explosions continue as Rob throws a small tantrum.
So just very quickly about this set.
Yeah.
It was not a real subway.
Really?
What?
Yeah, this is a warehouse in San Pedro, California. And apparently it used to be used as like a shipping post.
Okay.
And so the track that's there is real.
Oh.
But everything else is outfitted to look like a New York City subway. They didn't say it on the featurette, but they showed an exterior of the warehouse. And if you remember on Dexter, this is the exact same warehouse where the Trinity Killer made that mother jump from.
Oh my God.
Oh, okay.
I recognized it and I was like, that has to be it. And I looked it up and it is.
Oh.
That's wild.
But there is an element later, shortly after this scene, where they actually are filming in a subway in New York City.
Oh,
And it
nice.
all looks, yeah.
Yeah.
Later, the explosions continue. HUD films Lily and Marlena sitting together before panning over to Rob, whose phone is ringing. Rob looks at his phone and says, "Oh, God." HUD asks multiple times what's going on, but Rob just gets up and walks away. He raises the phone to his ear and answers. It's his mother. Lily immediately lowers her head as Rob assures his mom that he's okay. He tells her not to worry because the army is here now and they're being evacuated. In a lowered tone, he tells his mother that they tried to cross the Brooklyn Bridge and that's when it hit. He straight up says, "Jason's dead, Mom."
Wow.
Yeah.
Just to drop it like that.
Yeah.
When he answered the phone and he's like, "We're okay, like the military's evacuating us," I thought he wasn't going to tell her.
Yeah.
And maybe this is something that we're going to do in person if we do make it back or whatever. But to just say it, that I was just like, wow, dude, are you fucking for real?
Yeah, that did catch me by surprise too. Because I figured the same thing. No, yeah, we're okay, Mom. We're whatever. And then him get off and be like, oh my God, I don't even know, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's just like, he's gone.
Jason's dead, Mom.
Yeah. I just, again, this is just piling up.
Yeah.
And real quick, tell them what you want to do.
Yeah.
While you're saying this and you're being so open, tell your parents your mission.
If you're going to tell it, then you got to tell it all.
Yeah.
His mom damn near cried when she got the phone call.
That's very... That's a bit much.
But he covers his face as he begins to cry, and HUD takes a look at Lily, who is also dissolved into tears. Afterwards, Rob sits alone, crying, and Lily goes to comfort him. The two embrace and sob as the lights flicker around them. HUD films them later sitting on a bench together before approaching Marlena, who sits alone. He admits to her that he doesn't know what to say to Rob. He feels like he should say something, but he doesn't know what. Marlena just stares up at him. The camera cuts, and when it comes back, Rob and Lily still sit together on a bench across the platform, and HUD sits next to Marlena. She tells him that she wasn't even supposed to be here. HUD reminds her that she didn't have to be here. She had a chance in the alley to leave them. He asks, wasn't she supposed to meet her friends or something? Marlena confirms this, and HUD just offers her a sorry. I was like, why do we need this?
Yeah.
Well, you could have fucking left.
Yeah.
It's like, dude. Rob gets up to consult the map, and HUD and Marlena join him. Rob realizes that this is the 6, and when HUD tries to point out that the trains aren't running, Rob clarifies. All they have to do is walk the track because Beth lives in Columbus Circle. He traces their route on the map and surmises that it will only take them an hour. When he's met with some skepticism, he points out that it's either walk the track or stay here. The lights go out for a moment as another booming explosion sounds overhead, and when they come back on, HUD says that he'll walk the tunnels. And when the camera comes back up, they are walking the tunnels in pitch black. Rob educates HUD on the fact that there's a light on the camera, and he turns it on for him. It cuts through the darkness, and they continue their journey down the tracks.
Something interesting that they did mention on commentary is Matt Reeves wanted some kind of unsettling noise that he could add to this sequence to make it a little more suspenseful and creepy.
Yeah.
And so he talked to a sound designer who had actually worked a lot with David Lynch. And they literally just ripped a droning noise from a David Lynch film and put it here. And it works.
Yeah.
I love that. But as they go, HUD points out that the ocean is big. They found a fish in Madagascar that they thought had been extinct for centuries. Rob asks if it was down there the whole time and nobody noticed, and HUD agrees that this is a possibility, or maybe it erupted from an ocean trench or a crevasse.
One that I will give HUD, him saying crevasse, trying to class up the joint, and then saying crevice right after. That was pretty good. It's pretty good.
He's like, you know what I mean? He says that it's just a theory. It could have flown here from another planet. Marlena asks, like Superman? HUD immediately agrees and then is like, wait, you know who Superman is? Sarcastically, Marlena stops in her tracks and turns to look at HUD, asking, oh my God, whoa, you know who Superman is? She feigns that she's feeling something and asks in mock disbelief if he's aware of Garfield.
Aware.
Yeah.
Which is really funny.
Yeah.
But again, if I'm being nitpicky, weren't you just traumatized and in shock like an hour ago?
Yeah, that is also very true.
Like, I mean, how are we at this point now where we're in the scariest place I've ever been in my entire life.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like almost pitch black down there.
Yeah.
In all honesty, there is a huge amount of inconsistency with Marlena and her behavior tonight.
Yeah.
Because they're going towards the Brooklyn Bridge. You can't even talk to her. They leave
Exactly.
the Brooklyn Bridge and she's checking on Lily.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As if she's completely fine.
Yeah.
Only one person is allowed to be shocked at a time. We're just passing the shock around like a hot potato.
Would it be great if it worked that way though?
No.
Oh,
Like,
well,
but somebody's always like,
if somebody's
with their
willing to
faculty.
take that, it's very difficult.
The camera cuts on HUD's humiliation, and when it comes back up, HUD is still talking, but Rob's words stop his. He admits that all he keeps thinking about is the last thing he said to her was, good luck tonight, Travis. Lily assures him that Beth knows that he didn't mean it. She said that she's thinking of all the things she ever said to Jason, but Rob tells her that that's different. Jason knew that she loved him. He's like, your grief doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
It's me, Beth. It's like, dude.
Main character energy. You're right.
Yeah, in the worst fucking way.
Not my brother.
Yes.
Yeah.
Knew
I
how,
swear to
how
God.
you felt.
Yeah. Jason.
Jason.
He's like, can we fucking talk about Beth, please?
Right? Yeah, the neighbor guy. It's
Yeah. What? And can we talk about how he didn't even stay on the phone with his mom for like 5 seconds?
yeah. That,
He drops his phone and he's like, I gotta go.
right.
I have somewhere more important to be.
Beth needs me, Mom.
I gotta think about Beth.
Good, Beth.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But they continue on in a silence that HUD can't help but break. He asks if they remember a few years ago when that guy was lighting homeless people on fire in the subways. It's like a telltale game because you could literally feel nobody liked that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Rob tells him that that's not the best topic of conversation down here, and HUD shuts up for about 2 seconds. He asks, wouldn't it be scary if a flaming homeless guy came out of the dark? They snap at him to stop, and he apologizes. Air whooshes past them, and when Lily stops to ask what it was, Rob instructs them to just keep moving. Marlena is disgusted by a horde of rats running past, but HUD points out that they're all running in the same direction. Rob agrees. It's like they're running away.
I think we fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think look, this is such a cool moment visually.
Yeah.
I don't need you to tell me the rats are heading
Yeah,
the same
no.
way. It's almost like something's chasing them. Maybe we should follow the rats. It's like, dude, yes, that's the whole point.
We see
it.
Yeah.
But Marlena questions, from what? And HUD pans the camera behind them to show a huge group of rats squeaking and running toward them. They hurry along too, and HUD questions how much further they have. Rob thinks it's a good idea for them to just get off at the next station, but they stop at the sound of rattling. HUD turns but can't capture anything in the camera. He keeps complaining about how bad this is, but they shush him, and Rob finally tells him to turn on the night vision. When HUD can't figure out how to do it, Rob does it. It turns on, and in the green of the night vision, there are multiple pairs of glowing eyes piercing the darkness of the tunnel. Parasites are crawling up on the ceiling. HUD screams at them all to run as the creatures drop from the ceiling, squealing. One jumps on Lily's back and tackles her to the ground, but they're able to fight it off and get Lily to her feet. Hud is next, and the camera catches the little creature up close and personal as he's attacked. The creature unhinges its jaw and appears to chomp down on Hud, but Marlena appears, armed with a pipe. She swings it, hitting the parasite until Hud is freed, but another one jumps onto Marlena's back, tackling her and spraying the camera with dots of blood. Hud gets up, and for a moment, it did appear to me that Marlena was getting killed as the parasite writhes and bites her back, but Rob is able to pull her to her feet. Hud runs behind them, and Lily has found a door off to the side of the tracks. They all run inside, and Hud swings the camera around to catch one of the creatures trying to squeeze through the crack in the door. Rob and Marlena press their weight against it as hard as they can until they're able to get the door closed. Just to point out that, again, Hud is standing there holding the camera instead of helping them close the door. But it's just moments like that where I'm like, on what fucking planet would anyone do this? Marlena just got her fucking back chewed up, and it's just whatever.
Aren't you supposed to be in love with her? And you're
yeah. And he's like, yeah, just get in the frame. It's like, no, dude, what?
The rule of thirds.
Yeah. But I did read that they built puppets, or I watched on the featurette that they built puppets of the parasites for them to be fighting here. But they thought that it looked really cartoony. So in this scene where they're fighting them off, all of the actors are literally fighting and reacting to nothing.
That's impressive.
Yeah. But the puppets did help them understand the size of the parasites and what they were going to look like. But yeah, they're fighting off nothing. There's nothing there.
That's wild.
And thinking about it, these things do kind of look like the bugs from Starship Trooper.
Oh, really?
Do
a
they?
little bit. Like, because those are just giant bugs. So I was like, because that's what I thought. I was like, are they like skeleton bugs? Or what? I know you said they're parasites. But
yeah.
They are very scary looking.
They kind of not as striking, but they kind of give the mist as well.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Those fucking spider things.
Yeah.
I think anything like this just really gets under my skin.
Yeah, no, I don't like it at all. But we get a flash of Beth smiling on the train on that day in April before we join the group in the room that Lily has found. Hud wipes the smeared blood off of the camera lens because that's the priority here. But he turns the camera around to Marlena when Rob asks how she's doing. She sits at a small table with an abandoned meal left half finished. Hud asks if she's okay, and she invites him to tell her. He stands behind her to find her fresh injuries and 2 tracks of the parasite's bite marks marring the back of her shoulder. The wetness of the wounds glistens in the low light, and Hud offers simply that it looks like it hurts. Marlena jokes, asking if he's saying that it isn't attractive, and he admits, a little bit. Rob is being proactive, using a metal bar to pry open the Aquafina vending machine. He brings bottles over to them, and as Marlena pats dry the oozing wounds on her chest, Hud comments that those things came out of nowhere. He points out with curiosity that one of them tried to drag him away. Wetting her towel with water, Marlena says with a chuckle that maybe it liked him. Hud adds that it was trying to make him its queen. It is funny that he's like, it seemed like they liked me the best, right?
They're the only ones that like you.
No shit.
They were doing us a favor, honestly.
Yeah.
The two share a small laugh before Marlena is sobered by the blood on her towel.
As I was watching this, I was like, are they really having a moment? And then I'm like, oh, Marlena's delirious.
Yeah.
She is bleeding out. She's not all there.
Hud thanks her for coming back for him, but she asks if he thinks she's the kind of person that wouldn't do that. Hud stammers that he knows she isn't, but he's glad she did. Otherwise, he'd be totally dead. The two share a long moment of eye contact, and when Marlena's face breaks into a bright smile, Hud assures her that she's okay. She just got bit. But we cut to him standing across the room with Rob, and in a lowered voice, he's like, Marlena's in bad shape. Rob reasons that they could stay here and hope the parasites don't get in, but Lily, standing behind Marlena, who offers a pained wince, asks what the other options are. Rob indicates another door and reasons that they could try to go out that way and go down another tunnel, but Lily is adamant, no more tunnels. Rob says that they can try their luck up top. Looking between everyone, Hud lists their options. Die here, die in the tunnels, or die in the streets. Rob reminds them that they don't even know where they are, so they could go up top and see if they recognize anything. He asks if Marlena will be able to walk, and although she insists that she's fine, Hud offers to help her.
That thing fucked her up.
Oh, yeah.
No, it was bad.
It looks good, though. Like, seeing it, it's like, damn, you feel like that bug fucked you up. Not just like, oh, man, it's like, damn.
No, it's bad, and it's on her chest, too.
Yeah.
So it tackled Hud and did like nothing to him?
I guess, because it looked like it was like chomping on him before she bats it away.
Maybe he tasted bad, and it was like, nah. Yeah.
No thanks. They step out of the platform and realizing they're at 59th. When they walk past the doors to a Bloomingdale's, they pause and take in the bright light streaming out of them. They walk over and Rob peers through the glass before they let themselves in. They walk cautiously down the aisles of the abandoned Bloomingdale's, shielding their eyes from the bright spotlight. But Hud turns to check on Marlena, who has fallen behind. She looks pale, sickly, and dazed. When Hud asks if she's all right, she admits that she's dizzy. Rob offers for her to sit down, but Marlena presses forward, repeating that she's fine. The other three are concerned, insisting that she needs a doctor, but they all stop in their tracks when they're met with the army soldiers raising their guns. The soldiers immediately identify them as civilians and ask how many there are. They tell them that it's just 4 of them, and the uniformed men lead them away.
I was worried. I didn't know how big this was or what we're trying to do as far as containment is concerned. We've seen a lot of movies where they do that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
And so I was very worried he was going to say, we've got 4 civilians here. Do you want me to shoot them, Mr. President? I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
I was more worried of something like Dreamcatcher.
Oh,
that's what I was worried about. Yeah, that works too. Or The Blob.
Or Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we have a reason to distrust.
Yeah.
But Rob hurries after the soldiers, trying to get their attention. He says that their friend is trapped in her building on Columbus Circle. Staff Sergeant Price, played by Billy Brown, just comments cryptically that that's not where he wants to be. Lily asks if they know what that thing is, and he concedes that if they do know, they haven't told him. But whatever it is, it's winning.
If you recall, Billy Brown is another Dexter alum.
Yes.
And Sons of Anarchy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just very weird.
It's a good mix.
Yeah. But glad to see him. It's a small role.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a really good actor too.
Yeah.
But the soldier pushes the curtain open and leads them into another area that has been repurposed into a bustling clinic. People hurry about, and a man whose torso has been completely bisected is wheeled by on a gurney. As Hud looks at the motionless man, he comments not to look at it because it's gross, and a medic from another area calls out that they've got another bite.
So I just want to remind everyone that this film is rated PG-13.
Right.
I know that Steven Spielberg was not officially a producer, but he was kind of he gave notes on this film.
Yeah.
But it reminded me a lot of what Steve did for the rating of Poltergeist, where I know PG-13 wasn't a thing yet.
Right.
But if we're between PG and R for Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How is it we see an exploded man with his guts all hanging out and we still get a PG-13? It's surprising.
That's true. That's a good point.
And then what we're about to see, I feel like, again.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hud pans over the soldiers, but his attention snaps to Lieutenant Colonel Graff, played by Chris Mulkey, commanding his troop to be ready to go in 15 minutes. He turns to Price, tasking him with having the group checked out by medics and taken to the evac chopper. But Rob butts in, pleading with Graff that their friend is hurt and she needs help. Graff starts to walk away, retorting coldly that he can't help and calling for them to be brought to the chopper. Rob is frantic. He grabs onto Graff, yelling for them to just listen to him. But that's enough for Price, and with the help of another soldier, he restrains Rob. Graf is fed up as well, yelling at HUD for recording and smacking the camera down. I'm a little shocked that they let him be this much.
Yeah,
honestly.
Let him do this much with the camera.
And I don't want to sound like an asshole, but there's a lot of people that are here that are hurt.
Yeah.
Now, I get that, you know what I mean? Your friend is hurt, but everybody here
I'm
is
sure
hurt.
every single one of these people in here have somebody that they're worried about right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Rob, please, please. But it cuts off, and when the camera comes back up, it's pointed at the floor. Rob is pleading on Beth's behalf once again, but Graf is adamant that he's not compromising the mission, and they're getting on that chopper. He tells Rob that he has no idea what's out there. HUD cranes the camera up to capture Rob's pleading face as he tells Graf that the girl he loves is dying, and it's his fault.
I also want to point out just the very cliche line that he has.
Yeah.
The girl I love more than anything in the world.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, you better let him go.
Yeah.
Well, let me break protocol real quick.
Yeah. He loves her more than anything in the world.
Yeah.
But honestly, maybe this was the pitch.
Hey.
We'll talk in a minute. He says that she should have been with him, but he let her go. He allows that Graf and the soldiers have their hands full, but they're going after Beth. And if they want to stop him, they're going to have to fucking kill him.
that did not. That didn't happen.
No.
No, he says if they want to stop him, they're going to have to shoot him. That's what he says.
Wow.
But everyone seems to have forgotten about Marlena, who quietly says HUD's name. He pans the camera over to her, and she stands alone. Her hair is wild, her skin is pale, and blood leaks from her eyes and nose. Jessica Lucas said in one of the featurettes that she did not envy Lizzie Kaplan because she had to have thick blood drops put into her eyes, and they showed them doing that. It did not look comfortable.
Yeah.
It looked very painful.
I
Yeah.
bet.
But she tells him earnestly, I don't feel so good.
I understand that we've been focusing a lot on Rob with his plead to the army or whatever.
Yeah.
But our priority should be Marlena. We shouldn't have to snap back to her and she's like, Mr. Stark? Like, really?
Literally.
I didn't even think about that, but you're right. We know she did get attacked.
She
Yes.
was about to pass out before the soldiers came out.
Yeah.
Like,
And I thought you were like in love with her or something.
yeah, he's like, no, I need to capture this for the...
Yeah.
He's like, let him cook. But there is a beat of silence before a medic screams that they've got another bite. She holds Marlena back for a moment before a squad in hazmat suits swarm and pull her away. HUD panics, demanding to know where they're taking her. But in an opening between the blue hazmat suits, we see Marlena retching and vomiting blood. HUD screams her name and runs after her before he's stopped, but he continues to film Marlena being pulled behind a plastic divider. But blood spatters against it when Marlena inexplicably explodes and collapses.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is happening? Everything is bad enough. The monster, the parasites, all of it is bad enough without knowing that a bite does that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know enough about these monsters or anything, but the last thing I thought, and they are called, you said parasites.
Yeah.
So maybe they're carrying a little something extra,
Oh,
That's
yeah.
fair.
but this is the fucking last thing that I expected. I thought she was just going to die a very bloody and painful death.
Yeah.
And I mean, she did, yeah, but an explosion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said that they did this twice too, because the first time was so fast that you couldn't really see that she exploded. You just saw the blood.
Yeah.
So they did it again and got this one. And they said that the blood was food coloring, Caro syrup, and chocolate syrup.
Good Lord. One thing I will say, and again, it's just one of those things that you don't think about when you're just watching the film.
Yeah.
But when you're taking notes to discuss the film, you're like, really, fucking HUD is getting this shot?
Oh, yeah.
Well, why isn't anybody like, we told you to put that fucking camera away?
True. We're confiscated, dude.
It's already happening, I guess. You know,
It's the honor system.
Yeah.
No, don't use it again. Panicked and in shock, the remaining three are pulled down a hallway. They fight and protest, but Price tells them that it's over and there's nothing they can do for Marlena now. He tells the other soldiers to leave and says that he'll get them on the chopper. Once they're gone, he admits that he shouldn't be doing this shit. But he leads Rob further down the hallway with Lily and Hud close behind. He asks Rob about Beth's building in Columbus Circle before conceding that if Rob wants to go, he's not going to stop him. He warns them, though, that the government is considering a hammer-down protocol, which means letting the entire area go. Rob asks if he means Midtown, but Price corrects him. He means Manhattan. They continue walking, and Price continues spilling the tea for some reason. They're taking one more shot at the monster before they level the entire city. He asks if Rob's watch is still working, and after Rob confirms that it is, he tells the trio that the last chopper is leaving from 40th and Park at exactly 6 a.m. He tells them that if they can make it there, they'll get them out. Rob utters a breathless thank you, but Price informs them that 58th Street is outside the door before he hurries them out. So I guess Rob's more than anything in the world.
Yeah.
Price is like, well, if it's for love. Like, I was like, what the hell is happening?
None of this works.
Yeah, it's a little weird. We've got to get to Beth.
Of course.
But this does feel a little like, I once loved someone so much.
See,
Yeah. But that would have even been a little bit
Yeah,
better.
but-
if we have something about
like
his
that.
partner or something,
Yeah.
then that might lead to something. But what the fuck worked on him to where he's like, I'm going to spill every government secret that I have
Yeah.
to this guy that I just met 5 minutes ago.
And
Yeah.
he's like, go to this place. They'll take good care of you.
Yeah, like what? If you can make it there, you'll make it anywhere. It's like, what are you talking about? I just don't get
This
it.
was
Yeah.
just almost laughable to me. Like, we were talking earlier off mic before we got started, and John Paul said it would have made so much more sense if they escaped.
Yes.
And I think that would have worked better because this man,
Yeah.
you know what's out there. You even literally said when we were walking in, you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
And can we talk about their quarantine protocol? If the person that you are with was bitten by one of those things and just fucking exploded, maybe we should check these other people for bites.
Oh, yeah.
No, but he just gives him a pat on the ass.
Yeah. And they're expecting you at this corner of 50, whatever. It's like, what is this?
It just does feel like one of those, we have to get you somewhere.
Yeah.
Here's the path. Go.
Yes. It's just like, Price, what are you doing, dude? But as they walk out into the night, Hud remarks that this is like a nightmare. Lily says that she couldn't see what happened to Marlena, so Hud fills her in. She started bleeding from the eyes. They screamed that she was bitten, then she wouldn't stop bleeding. Overcome with emotion, Hud can't finish and he stops walking. Lily comes back to console him and cry a little herself, but Rob is full on speed racer. Stop crying. We've got a lot of work to do. Nobody's like, he's sorry, but they don't have time. And if they need to stay behind, he'll go on himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Lily pulls herself together and tells him that they're going with him, and Hud agrees. They have to do this.
Again, I'm sorry, dude, but Marlena was a friend of Lily's.
Yes.
Yeah.
And apparently Hud's love interest or something like that. But Rob has no sympathy at all.
No.
Her boyfriend's dead, who
Yep.
is his brother.
Yep.
Yes.
And potentially her best friend, perhaps.
Yeah.
Is also dead, but he's like, hey, we need to hurry the fuck up.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
'Cause
Stop
Beth
crying. We
is-
got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll go. I'm going to complain the whole time.
Yeah.
You know?
Hud follows behind Lily and Rob as they run down the middle of the quiet street, but they all pause to watch a white horse casually trot by, pulling a carriage behind it. I did really like that.
Yes.
Agreed.
They keep moving, and in the distance, they see a damaged skyscraper leaning against the one next to it for support. Hud begs Rob to tell him that that's not Beth's building, but Rob says that it is. Clearly wishful thinking, Hud proposes that maybe she lives on the first floor, but Rob corrects him, the 39th. Lily rightfully wonders how they're even going to get up there, but Rob offers that they can just go inside and see how far they get. Great plan. It's like, we just go. It's like, no,
Oh.
okay, cool.
Now you put it that way.
Yeah. Smoke billows and debris flutters down from the buildings, and Lily answers honestly that she doesn't think she can do that. HUD surveys the buildings with the camera and comes up with an idea. Maybe they go into the building next to it, go to the top, find a way onto Beth's building from the roof, and then just go down to her floor. Rob stares at him wordlessly before running toward the buildings, and HUD tries to retract his idea, but it's too late. They run inside the building, past the disheveled lobby, as Rob heads straight for the elevator. Of course, they don't work. Even if they did, I would not trust an elevator right now.
Fuck no.
Like, dude, my legs are killing me.
Yeah.
We gotta get to the top. I love Beth, but
Yeah.
there's a line.
Yeah.
At cardio is where we draw it.
Lily suggests that they take the stairs, and so they do, HUD following after Lily as she finally takes her heels off and carries them. He asks if they noticed the look on Price's face when Lily asked about the creature. It's clear that they have no idea what's going on, but it hits HUD unless they're in on it. They keep trudging up the stairs, and HUD's wheels keep spinning. He doesn't read the news. Maybe the government made this thing, maybe on purpose, or maybe on accident. Rob reasons that maybe they did, but it doesn't matter now. But HUD objects that it does matter because he needs to talk about something. Otherwise, he's going to just shit his pants in the stairwell.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They stop on the 47th floor to catch their breath, and HUD apologizes. Once they continue climbing the stairs and hear howling wind, they realize that they're almost there. I did want to say before we move forward with this, HUD's kind of like grasping to make this make sense. They said that they very deliberately left this unanswered, that there is no scene with some scientist explaining what it could be. Like, I know there is some theories and some evidence of some corporation being behind this. I think that's more explored in Paradox, but I don't remember. But it was very deliberate that we do not know what this is or what caused it.
I think that's for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they find a dark apartment and let themselves inside its emptiness. On the far end, the wall has been completely destroyed, and Beth's building is leaning at a slant right outside. Lily is apprehensive, but Rob assures her that they can make it over using the pipes and air conditioners. Electricity sizzles on the other building, but Lily agrees. She and Rob start to climb over, but when HUD stays behind to document it, Rob snaps at him to put the camera down and come on. HUD turns the camera on himself, cryptically confessing that if this is the last thing that we see, he died. HUD starts to climb over with them, but is panicked when an air conditioner dislodges and rolls right off the very near edge. The camera cuts off, but when we come back, they're still making their way. The building slant is so severe, they're almost climbing vertically. But again, HUD is still filming. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the crabs have machine guns. Airplanes soar noisily by overhead, and defying logic and gravity, Rob finds a door and helps Lily toward it. HUD makes his way to them, and the door slams shut.
I'm sorry. I know you said cardio's your line.
Uh-huh.
This right here, like it needs to be the Bombeezy or like I'm never leaving you the rest of my life. Because like either way, this is a lot that I'm going through to get to you.
And you don't like heights.
No. Yeah.
I will say I did see on a featurette that this building set was constructed on a canted angle, and the entire area around it is nothing but green screen.
Okay.
And so they have created and expanded out this city. So thankfully, this was not.
Yeah. They weren't actually doing
No,
this.
but I'm with you. This is wild.
Yeah.
I know that I would do all of this for Jules. I know this, but at the same time, in this film, their relationship.
It's that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that you would treat Jules the way that he was treating Beth.
No,
Yeah.
he was an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't even think that she liked him very much. I'm surprised she called him.
Well, she's like, he's a dumbass. He'll come save me.
And it's been like 4 hours. You're obviously dead right now.
Yeah. No
There's
shit.
no
Yeah.
way. We're going to walk in, find her corpse, and be really upset.
Well, after everything we've been through, we see your building when we get here.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm never going to forgive Rob for this.
Dragging us up here. Jason's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your brother.
Marlena.
Yeah.
But in this new hallway, they list from side to side as they make their way to Beth's door. They did say on the featurette that this was so difficult to navigate this hallway the way that they have it on an angle that people were literally having to take Dramamine to make it through because it was making them sick.
Wow.
It looks tough.
Yeah, it does.
But this looks good.
Oh, yeah.
It does. Rob is frantically trying to kick the door in, and HUD offers help, but does not actually help. Rob finally breaks through and disappears inside the apartment. HUD follows behind Lily as she grips onto the walls and makes her way through the door. Rob calls out for Beth as they cross the crumbling apartment, but he begins to cry and lowers to his knees. Still, he approaches the giant gaping hole where Beth's wall used to be, and Lily joins him to find Beth's body. She lies pristine with her eyes closed, impaled by a piece of rebar jutting out of her chest.
I have to commend Lily and HUD because they could treat Rob the way he's been treating them all fucking night and say something like, "Oh,
stop crying. We have more work to do."
Yeah. No, she's dead. All right, well, let's go, Rob.
There's your
climb
answer.
Back. Yeah.
Rob kneels next to her, staring at her until she finally opens her eyes. Breathless, she asks Rob if he's really here and understands that he came back for her. He tells her, of course he did, but he's sorry it took him so long. I would be like, get the fuck out. If I didn't have time to cry over my best friend and my boyfriend / your brother, we don't have time for this fucking Sleeping Beauty shit. We just don't.
It's like one kiss from a prince. Whatever.
Well, wait.
I'm leaving.
I hope that monster crashes into this building.
I thought she
Right
said
now.
a wall fell on her.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
So she lied. She's a liar. This is unbelievable.
The wind whipping from the open wall behind them, running through their hair. Beth tells him that it's okay. She suddenly notices the rebar through her chest and begins to panic. Rob assures her that they're going to get her out of here, but he has to yell at HUD to put the camera down and help him because I guess HUD was just filming them like a ghoul. Yeah. They did say on that featurette that they made a mold that went around Beth's chest with the rebar sticking out of it. But then they bolted that mold to the ground to where she was laying.
Oh, wow.
That it was padded inside so that it was comfortable for her, but it completely restricted her movement. Like she actually couldn't move.
Oh.
But he sets it down, and our view is on Beth's legs as the voices clamor over each other. Rob instructs the rest of them to coordinate to lift Beth up at the count of 3. Beth begs him not to do this, but he starts to count anyway. Everyone lifts, and Beth screams as we hear a tearing sound. She whimpers, and Rob promises her that she's okay as HUD hurries to grab the camera. Helicopters whip around the building and HUD just films, and Lily consoles Beth so that Rob can wrap up her wound. The creature comes crashing through nearby buildings and Beth is horrified. She asks what it is, and HUD just surmises that it's a horrible thing and encourages them to go. And so they do. They step back out into the listing hallway as the emergency light flashes bright and white over and over. Lily forces the door open and Rob helps Beth follow. HUD brings up the rear, filming everything that's happening. They make it down the hall to where they came in and step back out into the night. Traversing the building once again, Rob cautions Beth to not look down, but she admits that she can't help it. This is what we fucking risk our lives to do.
Yeah.
And you can't just not look over the side. Like,
she's like, whoops.
I'm sick of this shit, dude. We're fighting once we get on level ground.
And I know we're going across again from the roof, and the building is a little slanted, but why aren't we using the stairs just to get down as far as we can and then trying to find a way down? Like, I don't know.
They're like, look, we know that this way works.
I just don't want to go on that roof again.
No.
I know. I think I'd honestly be afraid of trying to climb down in that building because I'm like, I don't know what the structure is anymore.
Oh, no, that's true.
Yeah,
that
it is leaning.
true.
But I would not want to go out on the roof either.
No,
I guess we
I
just
don't
live
want
in
to do
Beth's
any of
apartment
this. Yeah.
until 0600 hours. A helicopter rushes by overhead and drops a bomb on a nearby building, causing it to explode. Still half carrying Beth, Rob begs them to keep moving. HUD looks back over at the buildings in time to see the roaring creature looming in front of the explosion. Quickly, they make it back over to the first building, run through the apartment and into the hall. Opening the door to the stairwell exposes a parasite hanging from the ceiling. It jumps down ready to attack, but Rob grabs the emergency axe to axe it a question. He leaves the weapon inside the flopping creature as he runs down the stairs with Beth. So they said that a lot of the people involved with the film just wanted to see the parasites one more time because they thought they were so cool. And so when they came in under budget, they added this so that they could have one more.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. When Beth questions what that was, HUD tells her again that he doesn't know, but it's something also terrible. They make it down to the lobby, and as they run, HUD asks Rob what time the last chopper leaves. Rob recalls Price telling them 0600, and when HUD asks what that means, Rob tells him 6 a.m.
You're not allowed to talk anymore.
Literally, HUD alleges to have known that, which he didn't.
Yeah.
But the group steps outside. Again, I know that he's the comedic relief, but it's like nobody would be fucking joking right now, dude.
Yeah.
Not even me, and I'd be saying some stupid shit.
Isn't Beth bleeding out right now?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that for a second?
They're like, hurry up, hurry up. But they run down the street, explosions and gunfire soaring overhead. The creature plants its hands in the street and leans in, unleashing a terrible roar. But when it's struck in the back, it turns. Its tail whips behind it, devastating Grand Central Station as the Chrysler building looms lit in the background. Everyone flees, HUD struggling to keep up as he pants and captures the creature stomping down a misshapen foot onto a tank and destroying the street. But they finally arrive at the evacuation site. They tell the soldiers that they're ready to go and are immediately whisked away, which really made me laugh.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm like, why is this so easy for them?
They could be anybody, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, I figured that like Price would give them a code or say like, oh, say that Sergeant Price sent you or something. But they're
Yeah.
just like, you guys ready to go? Come to the chopper. Like it was just really funny to me.
They were waiting for them.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Lily is put in one of the choppers alone, and Rob, HUD, and Beth are promised a seat on the next one. Lily presses her hands against the window, looking worried and nervous, but over the chaos and whirring helicopter blades, Rob promises her that she'll be fine and tells her to wait for them. HUD catches the helicopter rising up as it flies away before turning the camera on Rob and Beth, who embrace and share a passionate kiss.
Look, there's a goddamn monster roaming around.
Yeah.
Making out right now, really.
Yeah.
The smartest thing to
priority.
do, you need to keep your eyes open.
Yeah.
And if you kiss with your eyes open, you're weird. But just,
You got to pick.
you got to pick. And right now it's
Let's keep our eyes on.
surveillance.
The creature spoils the moment by rampaging and destroying more buildings, but another chopper descends and the group rushes to board it. HUD continues rolling as they're buckled in, and the soldier advises the helicopter pilot to get them out of here because they're starting the bomb run. The creature roars as the chopper begins its ascent, but HUD starts to panic when something fiery comes crashing down to the street. For a moment, I thought that this was Lily's chopper.
Me too, and I was very afraid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. They say in the featurette, they like specifically say that it's a truck that was thrown, I guess, by the monster.
Okay.
So in my mind, Lily survived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think that Jason survived.
I hope that he did.
Okay.
And I think that gives me a better ending to the
Yeah.
film.
Right. As they fly above, HUD films out the window as the creature goes wild, crashing into hopefully evacuated buildings. He tries to get Rob's attention, but Rob has to be pulled away from inspecting Beth's wound. Even higher above them, the bombs start to drop. HUD is worried that they'll be hit by them too, but he is assuaged when he sees the row of bombs exploding onto the creature's back. The monster collapses, its limbs flailing against another building, and HUD rejoices that it's down. Rob and Beth are both staring out of the window now too, but everyone's view is obstructed by plumes of black smoke rising from the bombing site.
They could be making out now. That'd be
Yeah.
fine.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but now, no. It's like, what? Picking your spots.
Now we're going to do surveillance.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. HUD zooms, cheering that the creature is dead, but it looms up. I don't know how it gets this high, but it does.
Yeah.
Into the sky, and it attacks the chopper. They start to go down immediately, HUD pleading and begging to God as they scream and brace themselves for impact. And the impact comes. The helicopter crashes to the ground, and we get the briefest glimpse of Rob and Beth back in April. But in the chopper, the camera only captures stillness besides the frayed fabric of HUD's jacket blowing in the breeze.
I will be honest, my understanding of proportions has been totally challenged.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
And so any of these buildings, maybe it was like a 50-foot leap.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't understand anything anymore.
Yeah.
Not at all.
And that does suck because even if they did kiss in the helicopter, like you were saying, thinking about it now, it would still would have been the wrong time to celebrate.
Yeah. Why weren't you watching?
Yeah.
What if we kissed in the Cloverfield helicopter while the monster smacks us out of the sky?
It's a good a time as any.
Yeah.
I did want to talk for just a brief moment about how J.J. Abrams, and I believe Matt Reeves as well, describes this monster, because I don't think we see it in the environment of the city again, but they describe this monster as a baby.
Huh.
That it has just come out. It is in this city. It is scared. It's agitated. They're not killing it, but they are hurting it. And when you watch the behavior, they even talked about bringing the creature to life the way that it was rendered, wanting it to have a spooked quality, like when a horse gets scared and it becomes very dangerous, but it's not trying to be dangerous. It's scared.
Huh.
And when you think of the way that it is just crashing through buildings, it has no control of its tail. The tail's taking out the bridge. It's leveling Grand Central Station. Like, it has no idea what it's doing. It's not malicious. It's afraid.
You know, when you put it that way, you do see these movements as really clumsy.
Yes.
And honestly, it kind of makes you feel bad for if you had said
Yeah.
anything mean about the monster earlier. I don't know if we did.
It's just a baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that it was, I thought that was really interesting, and it kind of changes the context of kind of the entire film. Because, yeah, it is scary and it's rampaging. I'm not saying to let him cook. That's not what I'm saying.
I was going to say.
He has
Well,
killed
I'm
a lot of
just
people.
I was scratching my head for a second. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's not what I'm saying. But it is baby's day out, and he's scared.
Okay.
It is a new way to look at it.
It is.
Because you don't really see monster movies like that. The monster is usually malicious. Or,
Yeah, oh,
yeah.
So that is an interesting take.
Yeah. Speaking of other monsters, like you said, I did forget to mention that they hide stills from other monster movies in this.
Oh.
I think
Okay.
there's Godzilla, there's King Kong, but it's like a frame.
Okay.
Like, you have to know when to pause it and when to look for it.
So you mean like almost subliminal?
Right.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to share some love for Clover, because that's really sad.
Yeah.
And it also, no, that's not true. I was gonna say,
What?
it also makes it like Bruce, where it's like you're in his house, but no, he's in our house.
Yeah.
New York
And he's
City.
acting up.
I think Bruce was full grown.
That too.
Bruce was all, but again, you can't fault a shark for being a shark. I don't know what this monster is, but like, it's terrified.
But this is our city.
But this
Yeah.
is our city. But don't bring this shit here. But the radio crackles with the news that the target is still active. They're initiating hammer down in 15 minutes, and the sirens will sound 2 minutes out. The voice warns that if you can hear the sirens, you're still in the blasting zone.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's important. Beth speaks up, asking if everyone is all right. She complains that she can't move her arm and rouses HUD. Rob, however, is unconscious, and Beth snaps into action, instructing HUD to go to the other side so they can pull him out. As HUD goes, he passes the dead pilot before exiting the chopper and pulling Rob out. As soon as he hits the grass, Rob wakes and begins to wince and groan with pain. HUD pulls him away from the chopper, and Rob yells that his leg hurts. HUD sets the camera down in the grass and hurries to Rob's aid with Beth. Beth cradles his head as HUD applies a tourniquet to stop the bleeding. The bombing continues past them toward the city, and HUD insists that they have to get out of here. They help Rob to stand, and they start walking away. But when HUD realizes he's forgotten his camera, he turns back for it. Rob and Beth both look in his direction and scream his name with urgency. HUD asks, why? But soon he sees. Looming over him, horrifically tall, with its strange and many limbs, is the creature. Now, I have a lot of problems with this. HUD and Beth were both facing in this direction when they were helping Rob 30 seconds ago.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck did this thing just appear here? And I forgot to mention, we are in Central Park now. So, like, it's out of the... Like, I don't... This logistically makes zero sense.
You would have heard him approach.
Yeah, because when we were in the bodega, the footsteps were shaking the whole building.
Yeah, and look, I understand what we said about this monster being a baby, but this thing has grown up because that feels vindictive. You're following us out here. You have an entire fucking city of people to eat and deal with, but you followed us to Central Park?
Listen.
Well, I think it's the tiptoeing to where we're at.
Yeah, that too.
It's like a cartoon.
He had a plan.
Yeah.
I will say, when we see him in the city, he is bumbling around. If you watch the movements, nothing seems purposeful. It just seems like it's scared and confused and trying to find its way. This is the one thing that doesn't fit that.
Yeah.
Because it is.
This is premeditated murder.
Yeah. And even what happened...
This first degree, Clover.
He had gas cans in his trunk.
Well, I wonder what that would be because he is a monster and he's not.
Well, it's going to be
human. hard
to get those cuffs on him.
Yeah, well,
but he
could
deserves
get big enough ones.
Which brings us back to let him cook.
Yeah.
Hey, it's better them than us, right?
Yeah.
But it looks down on HUD. Red sacs inflating and deflating on either side of its head as it emanates a low rumbling sound. The creature takes a suspenseful look at HUD before snarling and opening its jaws. It bites down, ignoring HUD's screams, and the camera is lifted up before falling back to the ground. HUD is bisected and then cruelly dropped. In the grass, the camera's focus struggles between HUD's lifeless face and the lush green grass. The monster's like, you're welcome.
He won't be missed, but...
No.
This was wild, and unlike anything that we've seen before, besides Marlena one time mentioning that it was eating everyone, is what she said. I did find it interesting because they said that HUD's death was supposed to be a quick scare where you don't see anything. Except, like, I guess the camera falling. But they changed their minds, and this is kind of the best look that we get of this creature in the whole film because the sun has risen now as well.
Yeah.
But they said that to kind of make this, they sketched the creature first, and then they sculpted it into a model and then rendered that 3D into a computer. Then they built this creature layer by layer, even adding a layer of muscle for more realistic movement. And you can see it does. I mean, it's wild what they were able to do. But this is not the Clover that I know because this does not give baby. It doesn't. You know what would have maybe worked better is if this were a parasite.
Yeah, maybe, honestly.
Because what they're still moving forward with the hammer down thing. I mean, I don't know. It's not even where they were at.
I just think that it feels like a moment again for the cinema and you gasp.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you start to think about it for really any time at all, you're like, it doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I will be honest. I do like the camera focus in the grass.
Me too.
But other than that,
yeah, it did look cool.
Yeah.
I mean, but then again, really, like, if we take Clover out of it, the only way to get rid of HUD is the helicopter crash, which is really dark. And then
it is.
And then we get the end of the film that we get, and then but I think you kind of have to have a moment like this,
or have a parasite out here.
Yeah, but walking through the park.
Yeah.
Taking a morning stroll
they
in the
deserve
park.
a stroll too.
Yeah, they're taking over.
Yeah.
As plumes of black smoke rise behind them, Rob screams HUD's name, and they get closer and closer. When they finally reach him and snatch up the camera, it cuts off. It did piss me off that they ran over here to pick up the camera. HUD is in half. He's not. Yeah. He's no longer with us. Why are you? Isn't the creature still standing here?
Dude, that's right. Like, he must be full. I don't know.
I just don't
like.
I don't.
And
I
if
don't
we're
know.
going by what Marlena said, him eating everyone, his appetite is massive. He's not done.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand. It's because we need to see this ending.
Exactly.
Right.
And
That's
I
it.
don't like that. That made me think it ate everyone, stupid. But when he begins to film again, Rob is running with Beth to the gray shot arch. They seek refuge underneath, and in the darkness, they pant and struggle to catch their breath. Beth sobs as Rob points out that they're all gone. The creature screams and more explosions echo. Beth says that they have to get out of here, but Rob tells her no. They're out there fighting the creature. If he and Beth just stay here, they'll come and find them. Sobbing, Beth is adamant that they can't stay. The creature roars again, and in the following silence, Beth admits that she's so scared. Rob holds her and quietly consoles her before picking up the camera and turning it toward himself. The sirens ring out, warning that they are still in the blasting zone. Rob tells us that he is Robert Hawkins, and it's 6:42 a.m. on Saturday, May 23rd. 7 hours ago, something attacked the city. He doesn't know what it is, but if we've found this tape and are watching it now, we probably know more than he does. He quickly looks in the direction of more explosions ringing out before turning back to us. He says that it killed his brother, Jason Hawkins. It killed his best friend, Hudson Pratt. It killed Marlena Diamond and many others. Sorry.
No, you can laugh. I was a little upset at the fact that it took him 2 fucking takes to do this.
Yeah.
He's like, no. For somebody who only seemed to care about Beth and he got Beth, for him to give a shit about anyone now, it just feels really, really ridiculous to me.
Yeah, it bothered me that he didn't mention Lily at all.
Nope.
Yeah.
But he did give Marlena's first and last when he didn't even know it.
I've met him like 3 times.
Yeah.
That did make me giggle a little bit. But again, in my mind, Lily's fine. But he says that they are crashed in Central Park and hiding under a bridge. The military is bombing the creature, and he and Beth are stuck in the middle. Just like on that sunny and much happier day in April, Rob turns the camera to Beth. She continues to cry, admitting that she doesn't know what to say. Rob tells her, just tell them who you are. So she does. She tells us that she is Elizabeth McIntyre, and she doesn't know why this is happening. She says that they're going to wait here until it passes. But an explosion lights her face and the camera falls. Rubble crashes onto it as the creature's wails and roars get unbearably loud. Our view completely blocked. Rob tells Beth to look at him. He tells her that he loves her, and she sobs that she loves him too. Another explosion blasts, and Beth can only let out the beginning of a scream before the footage freezes. On April 27th at 6:17 p.m., Rob films from the Ferris wheel at Coney Island. The view is steady on the beach and the water, and out of focus on the right side of the screen, something comes falling from the sky and splashes into the ocean. You can very easily miss it.
Yeah.
And that is a very cool
Yes.
moment.
Yeah.
Rob turns the camera around, asking Beth to admit it. She's going to miss him a little bit, right? Beth answers playfully, we'll see. The camera begins to beep, and Rob warns that they're almost out of tape. There's like 3 seconds left. He asks Beth what she wants to say. She mulls it over before answering with a smile. I had a good day. Which is a callback to what Rob said earlier.
Uh-huh.
Which is cute. I mean, I get this. This was the most impactful of the flashbacks.
Yeah.
And I'm a person that is very susceptible to that. Like even in the Devil's Rejects, when they're the worst people on the fucking planet, I was getting a little choked up watching the like home videos or whatever, because it's like, man, those were happier times. Like I'm such a fucking sucker for that. But it didn't really, this was the only one that even made me like, aw. Like, I don't know. I think I just don't
No.
I just don't care about them, I think, which I don't like, but here we are. Rob's smile matches hers, and the two look at each other for a moment before she rests her head on his shoulder. The footage freezes and cuts out. It cuts to black, and the credits roll. Very quickly, this was the first thing that they shot, and it's the last part of the film.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I bet y'all didn't see that coming at the beginning when I teased it. But at the end of the credits, a man's voice whispers, "Help us." and a scrambled radio voice is nonsensical until it is played backwards when it reveals it's still alive.
Why was he talking backwards?
He just does that sometimes. I don't even know who it is.
Just Twin Peaks?
Yeah.
Look, burns his suit. I don't know. But I have to ask, what did you guys think of Cloverfield?
So I'll be honest. I know we had a lot to say about the movie, but I do still enjoy this. I would still watch it. I feel like there's a small pocket that we kind of ran into and discovered about the momentum of movies, or like just watching them in their entirety instead of stopping every 2 seconds to break something down or look something up. And that is something that, like I said, we've talked about before. This is one of those movies for sure.
Yeah.
If you stop to take a look at everything, peek behind the curtains, pay attention, then it's like, wait, what? What the fuck? What did you just say? Or what happened? And it's like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
But this is a very fun movie to watch as a group or just to have on while you're doing something. I do like the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched it so many times to where I'm like, oh, Cloverfield's great. And I think the same thing. I think 10 Cloverfield Lane is the superior one of the three.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But, I mean, I don't know. I think it just falls down to our characters. That's it. Our cast, I mean, they're here, but we're not really getting a lot from them. For me, I enjoyed Jason and Lily more than I did
Robin.
yeah. Rob, thank you. Yeah.
It's indicative of...
Yeah. Because I remembered their names.
Mhm.
I even remembered HUD.
Yeah.
Because he's annoying and he's there, but you remember him. Marlena, you remember her too. Again, it is just that. It does feel later on like we've got to get people where they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that, for me also, it does hurt the movie.
No, I agree 100%. I think that, like we were talking about at the beginning, it's the spectacle of it.
Yeah.
It's the set pieces, the incredible work of different locations, creature design, the different effects that we can have and show off and showcase. I feel like it really, and I'm just still flabbergasted at this film being 73 minutes.
Yeah.
It's really unbelievable. And watching it throughout, you're exactly right. It is one of those films. If you just watch it, you go like to a theater, you watch it, you hang out with friends and watch it. It is one of those films. But the second you start to dissect anything,
Yeah.
like, man, Rob sucks.
Yeah.
Like, consistently.
Why do we find that so often?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think when you try to appeal to everyone, you appeal to no one.
Yeah, that is so true.
Yeah.
That's such a good point.
And I think that happens. It is such a terrible thing that seems to plague so many protagonists.
Yeah.
And it happens just so often. It's honestly irritating at this point.
Yeah.
And Rob is just another victim
Yeah.
of it. And I think the same as you. I feel like there are so many other interesting characters that we could have spent more time with instead, or even just in conjunction with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. There were just so many choices made that I don't agree with from a story standpoint and from a character standpoint. But if we're just watching it as this really fun creature feature, it's still a blast in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. And I will say, when you're not dissecting it or taking notes on it or whatever, this thing fucking flies by. They are able to cram so much into this short ass runtime. It's honestly impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, we already talked about how incredible the digital work was. I mean, it's really mind blowing if you kind of peel the layers back and know and learn what was really there and what wasn't. I mean, it blows your mind.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the creature. I think the creature is very cool. I love looking at it through a lens of it being almost as afraid as we are.
Yeah.
I think that that's very interesting. That's not something that we get to experience very often, especially with these like horror creatures and stuff. That's not an element that you really see a lot. I think that that's really cool. I think that we were talking off mic about how it just doesn't hold up to the first time that you watch it. And I think it's just one of those films that can't. And that's not even a ding on Cloverfield itself. It just, the first time that you see it with the spectacle and the story that they're telling and the way that they're telling it, it will never be the first time again. And that, it just is reality. It's not good or bad. That's just what it is. Because the first time that you see it, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you look too deep, there are issues. There are flaws in the story. There are weird character motivations. There are unlikable characters and more deserving characters of our attention and time are kind of just pushed to the side because Rob loves Beth. And that's just not enough for me because I don't give a fuck about Rob or Beth. But I can just kind of do it all at once and slide into ratings as well. I already said the pros. It's really, really just mesmerizing at some points. Like I said, I love the creature design for both Clover and the parasites. I think they're really scary. I think they're very interesting to look at and not necessarily, oh, well, you can see they borrowed that from that and that from that. Like, I think that Clover especially is pretty fucking unique.
Yeah.
I love that we don't really know where the hell it came from or what it's doing or why it's here or how it's here.
Yeah.
I love that weird little Easter egg of something falling into the ocean and kind of that bringing their story full circle with this magical day that they spent together, maybe being when this thing was dropped here. I mean, that's interesting. I just would have liked a little bit more in terms of story. And I got to say, it breaks my cardinal rule of found footage a lot when I am taken out of it because I'm like, this dude would not still be fucking holding this camera.
Yeah.
He just wouldn't. Y'all would not watch your friend be ripped in half by a fucking, I don't even know how many foot fucking monster standing in front of you, but we're just gonna run back and get the camera real quick. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. And that pisses me off.
Well,
and it takes me out of it.
Yeah.
It was Rob's camera to begin with.
I don't care.
That's my property.
I don't care. You just traverse these buildings to get Beth, and now you're gonna take her to the creature. Like I don't know. I don't like it. I would love, even if it was something that he clipped to his shirt and forgot about. I mean, I don't know. It just, him holding a handheld camera for the duration of what we've seen, it's asking me to believe too much. And I believe the monster. And I don't believe that. But yeah, I mean, it's got its flaws. It's got its really, really successful accomplishments. And I will say nobody's acting, I think, was bad. There's some that were stronger than others. But, I mean, that's a pro, especially in found footage when there is a lot of improv and there is a lot of, this is supposed to be happening to real people in real time right now. When you have a shitty actor, you stand out like a sore thumb,
Yeah.
But yeah, this one is almost difficult to rate because it is so successful on so many fronts, but really does not work for me on some other ones. My score might be a little generous, but I do think what they were able to accomplish here is fucking incredible. And this is another instance of really, really brilliant marketing with that teaser trailer. I think that I read that they had MySpaces for all of the cast.
Oh, wow.
And they all logged in last on the same day. Like, I mean, I love shit like that.
Yeah.
I wish I had been, well, not wish.
Don't-
I would have loved to have been more tuned in when all of this was going on. But yeah, thank y'all for voting this in. This was a fun one. There's some problems with it, So on a scale from 1 to 10, chaotic, catastrophic creatures, I gave Cloverfield 7 out of 10 chaotic, catastrophic creatures. There's a lot to love about this film. I will be revisiting it. It's not one that I'm like, ugh, I'm good. But it is not one to pause and dissect and ponder and well, why would Rob do that? It's just not. It's not that kind of a film. I think for something like that, maybe we should go more 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I will now open up the floor to you.
No, I agree. I there is a lot to love about this movie. And I'll be honest, again, learning about the sets and when we're in New York and when we're not and when we're somewhere else, like the blending of it and how it looks, you could have fooled me. I would have thought you really destroyed buildings just to get the shot.
Right.
Like it looks really, really good. I think it is just that. If we're racing, you don't slow down. So this movie, you have to just watch it beginning to end or put it on and whatever. Yeah, you can probably pause it, go do something, come back, and then turn it back on. But try not to pay, like I said, stop and be like, now why would he do that? Because then it's just going to frustrate you the more you continue to look at the decisions or things that are, it's like, what? But I'm going to be honest. The visual effects have blown me away. Like watching it, I was like, damn, this still looks really good.
Yeah.
Like the creature design, like you were saying, that is scary. The parasites, I'm just eat me, dude. I'm not running. I'm not running anywhere. But it does just fall down to the characters. That's really just it. But if you're just watching this just to watch it, that's fine. You know what I mean? And you're right. I'll watch it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a problem. It is just that sitting there and being like, now, why would this fool do that? Or why would they go back to whatever? Why is he trying to Spider-Man this building for Beth? And it's like, oh, dude. And I get it. The power of love and all that. I get it. But dude, do you not see what's going on around you? Your brother as well.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, what? How is the girl that you like, but she might not like you, it's more important than your brother, what happened on the bridge.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, come on, dude. But with all that, I know we did have a lot of fun talking about the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, thank you guys for voting this in. I know it was my birthday poll. I was excited for any movie on there.
Yeah.
But again, this movie is fun. And thank y'all again. But for me, on a scale from 1 to 10, chaotic, catastrophic creatures, I'm also going to give Cloverfield a 7. I did have fun. I did enjoy the movie, but it is really just that, or the people we're following. That's really just it.
No, I agree completely. I think to say anything else would just be restating everything that's already been said.
Mm-hmm.
The only other thing that I want to highlight a little bit is I'm not one for shaky cam.
Yeah.
It loses me a lot, but I feel like the seamless transition between the person behind the camera and it never feeling like it is a different person is pretty interesting.
Yes.
And
That's
I think,
true.
It's very well done, HUD aside.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this is one to revisit as a very fun Friday night movie.
Yeah.
I really appreciate all the work that went into it. I know at some points we came down a little hard on this film.
We might have got a little carried away.
A little bit about begging to be killed by a monster, perhaps. Maybe that was a bit much. But I think we all do appreciate a lot of what this film has to offer.
Yes.
And obviously all said that we were going to watch it again.
Yeah.
A lot of things said in jest, but everything's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, out of 10 chaotic, catastrophic creatures, I am going to give Cloverfield a 6.5 out of 10. I want to join you at that 7, but it is just these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is really, really difficult. I honestly, the Blair Witch Project, which to me is the greatest found footage horror film ever made and will always be, I don't think anything could ever top it. They spent so much time arguing in those woods, like basically the entire film. And not at one point did I hate any of them. So, I mean, take some notes.
That what you
I don't know. I was kind of mad when they kicked the map into the creek.
That was fucked
That
up.
was egregious.
That was bad. But Mike's a good guy.
Well, that's all from us at Podmortem. What would you rate Cloverfield and what should we watch next? Let us know on Twitter at the Podmortem. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and like our Stairhole Productions page on Facebook. Be sure to follow each of us on Twitter at Blood and Smoke, at RealStreeter84, and at TravisMWH. Thanks again to Original Cinematic for sponsoring this week's episode. Please consider pledging to our Patreon, where you'll get bonus content, our monthly schedule, access to our Discord server, and the opportunity to help us decide which films to cover. And if you're looking for Podmortem or Stairhole Productions merch, follow the link in our episode notes. Stay tuned until after the music for a special shout out to our Wendigo Getter patrons. And remember, you never know when the very foundations you take for granted might come crashing down. Let the people you love know how you feel before it's too late. Until next time. Thank you for staying tuned for a special thank you to our Wendigo Getter patrons.
Woo, yeah.
Very good. A special thank you to Chris Ontiveros, Kristen Lofton, Megan Martinez, Kimberly Bass, Sophie Hodson, Anthony Jerome M., Jordan Nash, Kent Morton, Lala Tamez, Travis and Nisa Hunter, Miguel Myers ATX, Jennifer Perez, Allison O'Neill, Carissa, TJ and Angie Bronson, Gabrielle Trevino, Spooky Mom, Applin Ontiveros, Karima Rhodes, Antonio Huerta, Kimberly Kleindienst, Will Brown, Sydney Smith, Osvaldo Soto, Bobby Holmes, Donna Eason, JD Rizak, Molly Gerhart, Armand Spasto, Aaron Aguirre, Eggy, William Barry, Brittany Seaman, Charity Oxner, Amanda Six, Mandy Rainwater, Jordan Roberts, Dylan, Liz Heath, Spencer Montalvo, Pancake the Panda, John Ramos, Michael Newting, Alexis Roberts, Dan Laveau, Itzy M., Gary Horton, Leisha Olivier, Kate Lamp, Carlos and Sydney, Jessica Hunter, Helena Rudder, Alan Johnston, Mariah, Livy Fun, Scott Troutman Wise, Towton Watson, Mozzie Bear, Brittany G., Dave Burke, Adrian Stakes, Daniel McGinnis, Nick Spill, Emma Hagel Kissinger, Valerie G., Emiliana, Brian Glass, CB, Taylor Santana, Will Lewison, Angelique, Smelly Poo Poo Head, Beth Bauer,
Cookie, Esperanza J, Jason Kyle OKC, Joshua Rumley, Danielle Peralta, Brandon, Sawyer Reese Farr, Sahara, Girl That's Scary, Cassandra, Andrea Simmons, Ashley Higuera, William and Xxena Rush, Ryan Brom, Megan Ochoa, Laura Lassiter, Eileen O, Marissa E, Sydney, Henry F, Megan M, Strangely Sarah, Christy Beck, Nancy and Andy, Amanda Lopez, Andy Terrell, Jason Hanavan, Katie K, Erica Morin, Cameron S, Nicole Stewart, Tris Wen, K.87, Mariah Jensen, Carrie A, Lonnie Lono, Powell, Kayla E, Maggie H, Murder Stina, No Thanks Tom Hanks, Kevin McConicle, Kristen Marcy, Ori81 Boricua, Look Like That One Girl, Bog Boy, Felnez 63, Alita Pui, Probably My Jugs, Kate Thackeray, Wade Pack, A Lizard, Bay J, Jay Rich, Jen Lassiter, Topher Williams, Elena Metler, Jean Jacket, Valerie K, Christy Lee Kruger, Professor of Humanities Laura McCarricker, Naomi, Josh Smith,
Abby Kopp, Crystal 831, Skank Sinatra, Morgan Alexander, Tony Osteen, Julie Fredborg, Rihanna S., Daniel Taylor, Anna Kate, Heather Ortiz, Jen T., Kim H., August, Vengeance Spirit, Sam J. Green, Kelly Glazyface Mac, Jenny May, Zoe Marie, Glittery Fab, Malik Caselli Armstrong, Scarly D., Toya Shea, Katie, Martin Shaw, Star, Tyler J., Daniel Dickerson, Jordan Gaddis, Cam Davies, Patrick Hoagland, Raven, King Roger, D., Wesley Tart, Kristen Jackson, Jacob Nordberg, Spencer, Samantha, Damian Grant, Half Price Horror, Clemmy, Nisi Nay, Erica, Jason X Rules, Karen Burrows, 203 Duncan, Aaron Norman, Stephen Rogers, Victoria Smith, Corey Gillen, Patricia A. Graham, Erasmo Pena, Danielle Wright, Bud Hates Mushrooms, Tabitha Thomas, Connie Lingus, Becca Boo, Richard Murray, Irene, Sally Slater 52, Jordan McCarthy, and Christy Michelle Wilson. Thank you all so much.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank y'all. We appreciate you so much. And it's clear that y'all put the love in Cloverfield.
Yeah.
It's in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in the middle. A little more toward the front.
Well, yeah.
Until next time.